At the same time, Shen Yi's horse had also jumped over the fence, charging frantically in the opposite direction from me. The racetrack's trainer also rushed over. Go after them. Quickly, Xia Qingshui ordered. Who should I chase? Xia Qingshu furrowed her delicate brows. Her eyes were looking in my direction, but the person she mentioned was Shen Yi. The trainer received the order and hurriedly ran towards Shen Yi. Shen Lily was nearby. She thought her youngest aunt told the trainer to chase after Shen Ye, while she herself would go save brother Xian. After all, her youngest aunt's equestrian skills had long surpassed that of a professional trainer, but unexpectedly, her youngest aunt also rode her horse off the track and also headed towards Shen Yi. Shen Lily was utterly disappointed and immediately rode her horse over the fence, charging like the wind towards Gu Xian. After Jiang Jingzhe and Liu Yi reacted, they also rode their horses in pursuit, but their skills were average. They rode very slowly. After entering the forest, they had no idea which way to go. Xiao Fei Fei was also in such a hurry that it flew erratically. After entering the forest, it crashed straight into a tree trunk. It's completely broken. The livestream room immediately went dark. Xi Ming stood in front of the monitor, stomping his feet anxiously. He didn't know what had happened either. Why would two perfectly fine horses suddenly go mad? He hurriedly dispatched the island's rescue team. Only Su Yichen remained calm, stroking the mane of the horse next to him. In the forest, a black horse was galloping. Its four hooves were flying, occasionally rearing up, as if wanting to throw the rider off its back. And at this moment, Gu Xian was leaning low, his whole body practically glued to the horse's back. The trainer had said, all the horses here were race horses. Falling off at this speed, he would be either dead or crippled. Although this was the first time he had encountered such a situation, Gu Xian remained calm. Finding his rhythm amidst the chaos, he clung tightly to the horse's back, just hoping that after this horse exhausted itself, it would stop. After Xia Qingshui entered the forest, she rode towards Shen Yi for a while, then turned her horse around and rode up a hillside. Along the hillside was the direction Gu Xian's horse was galloping. Actually, she had seen the island's map and knew there was a high slope in this forest. Following this high slope, her field of vision would be much wider. This was also the shortest path to catch up to Gu Xian. Sure enough, after getting to the high slope, Xia Qingshui first saw a figure. It was Shen Lily, who had caught up. She had taken the same path Gu Xian had, but after entering, she found the trees were dense and the bushes were overgrown. The horses of Gu Xian and Shen Yi had long since disappeared from her sight. Moreover, Shen Lily had gotten lost. It was impossible to tell the direction here. She gritted her teeth, closed her eyes and chose a direction, and started galloping again. Meanwhile, Xia Qingshui was up high, searching for Gu Xian's figure, and she actually found him. But Gu Xian's horse was running very fast. Xia Qingshu could only see a fleeting shadow, now visible, now hidden. Xia Qingshu's heart suddenly skipped a beat, because the direction Gu Xian's horse was running, if she remembered correctly, seemed to be a cliff on the map. Xia Qingshui frantically spurred her horse, galloping in that direction. Xia Qingshu's heart was pounding wildly. She had never been so nervous. Right now, she didn't have time to think about whether this was man-made or an accident. She just wanted to catch up to Gu Xian quickly, but she had seen the map. Her brain had already judged the distance to the cliff based on my earlier position. Xia Qingshui knew that at their current distance, she basically couldn't catch up. She didn't dare to imagine that when the crazed horse reached the cliffside, whether it would jump off or not. Just thinking about it, she felt like her heart was about to jump out of her chest. Xia Qingshui felt as if the air in her lungs had been sucked out. That suffocating feeling reminded her of the feeling when she was 10 and Xiao Wenhua pushed her into the pool, almost drowning her. It was a chilling, near-death feeling. Later, she learned how to dive and could hold her breath underwater for 9 minutes. She had never felt that near-death suffocation again, but now, her body was stiff. Her hands and feet were ice cold. The surroundings were clearly full of lush green trees. The air was fresh, but she felt as if her whole body was being pushed to the bottom of the water, unable to breathe. Xia Qingshui still held on to a sliver of hope in her heart that maybe at the last moment, Gu Xian would jump off the horse's back to save his own life. But she also knew that situation was also life-threatening. The fear in her heart was like a tide, relentlessly surging out. Finally, like an uncontrollable flood, it frantically destroyed her will and reason. Xia Qingshui finally rushed all the way to the cliff, just when her heart was in her throat, a dagger at her neck. Stepping through the gates of death, she saw Gu Xian's back. He was standing there, safe and sound. The horse was being led by a man in a suit and had calmed down. Beside them was a stone table and a few rattan chairs. A very familiar figure was sitting in one of the rattan chairs. The woman was dressed in high-end designer brands from head to toe, looking luxurious and elegant. Although she was nearly 50, her skin was firm, and there wasn't a single wrinkle on her face. She looked as if she were only in her early 30s. Her aura was leisurely and elegant. In her hand was a small ceramic cup, and she was leisurely enjoying some tea. When she saw Xia Qingshu arrive on horseback, her expression was very calm. Xia Qingshui had dismounted and ran in this direction. She finally stopped beside Gu Xian, grabbing Gu Xian and looking him up and down. "How are you? Are you hurt?" Gu Xian shook his head, his expression complex. I am not hurt. Xia Qingxue finally breathed a sigh of relief. She turned around, her cold gaze fixed on the woman who was leisurely enjoying her tea. Eldest sister. Long time no see. Xia Yuanhua finally put down the antique ceramic cup and smiled brightly at Xie Qingxu. It has been a long time. The last time you returned to the capital, you didn't even come home. Mother was very disappointed. Although Xie Qingxu already had the answer in her heart, she still asked, Eldest sister, why are you here? Xie Yuanhua maintained her leisurely demeanor. This island is mine. I suddenly felt like it today, so I flew over. I didn't expect that just as the plane landed. I'd see Mr. Gus' horse galloping out of control. I was the one who told my bodyguards to save him. Xia Yuanhua has 2 bodyguards, who never leave her side. Both top mercenaries trained by a mysterious international organization. They are also top assassins. Xia Qingxue. Of course, couldn't believe that Xia Yuanhua just happened to appear here. They had just arrived on the island yesterday. Shen Yi was almost harassed. And today, the horses of Shen Yi and Gu Xian went mad at the same time. Xia Yuanhua was definitely connected to it, but what she didn't expect was that this island belonged to Xia Yuanhua. In other words, they were now like fish on a chopping block. After speaking, Xia Yuanhua looked at Gu Xian. Mr. Gu, you still haven't thanked me for saving your life. This was the first time Gu Xian had met someone demanding thanks for a supposed favor. He also knew his horse going mad was definitely not an accident. Perhaps it was all arranged by Xia Yuanhua. Gu Xian was almost expressionless. Madam Chairman, I don't know how to repay you for saving my life. I can only repay you by working like a horse in my next life. How could Xia Yuanhua not understand the meaning behind his words? Repaying in this life is impossible. Let's leave it for the next life. Xia Yuanhua smiled gently. Don't worry, Mr. Jiu. I will give you many opportunities to repay me. Gu Xian also frowned, warily watching the wealthy and powerful woman before him. Mom. A call came from the distance, breaking the silence in the air. Shen Lily was riding her horse, galloping quickly in this direction. But her first reaction after dismounting was not to run to Xia Yuanhua, but, just like Xie Qingxu, she ran up to Gu Xian, grabbing his arm and looking him up and down. Brother Xian, are you okay? Are you hurt? Xie Yuanhua and Xie Qingxue saw this scene and frowned at almost the same time. Gu Xian smiled at her, as if to comfort her. I am fine. Don't worry. He didn't expect Shen Lily to chase after him. Xia Qingxue quietly separated their hands. Lily, why did you chase all the way here? Shen Lily said. I closed my eyes and picked a path. I didn't expect to find my way here. Then she looked innocently at her youngest aunt, Xia Qingxu. Weren't you chasing after Shen Yi? Why are you here too? Shen Lily, do you know Mom has been looking for you in Italy for a month? Xia Yuanhua's stern voice came from behind, mixed with a hint of anger. This little girl deliberately had someone use her card in Italy and used all sorts of little tricks to make her believe that she was in Italy when she had actually been back in the country for over a month, and so brazenly and ostentatiously participated in this show. Although she had arranged this show, she didn't pay much attention to it until yesterday when a subordinate reported Wei Tingfang missing and brought the last video of Wei Tingfang before he disappeared for her to see. That's when she discovered her precious daughter was also on this show. Shen Lily had lived abroad since she was young, coupled with her deliberate protection. Almost no one knew her true identity. Not even Wei Tingfang knew. She had just seen Shen Lily's infatuation with Gu Xian and was so angry that she flew over immediately that night. Shen Lily turned around and put on a smiling face. Mom, why are you here? Xie Yuanhua stood up and walked over to Shen Lily, looking her up and down once, then glanced at Gu Xian and said with a hidden meaning, if I didn't come, would I just watch you two fight and get jealous over a man and bring shame to our Xia family? Shen Lily was a little unhappy. Mom, it's not what you think. But she still walked over to Gu Xian's side and proactively introduced him to Xie Yuanhua. Mom, this is Gu Xian. I am pursuing him. Brother Xian is amazing. He even saved me in Paris. Xia Yuanhua's tone was a bit sarcastic. He is indeed very amazing. Otherwise, he wouldn't be playing you like a fiddle. This time, Shen Lily's face truly darkened, her expression serious. Mom, I won't allow you to talk about Brother Xian like that. With just a few words, Xia Yuanhua had probed out Shen Lily's feelings for Gu Xian. It seemed much more serious than she had thought. Xia Yuanhua had interacted with Gu Xian before and only felt that this man was not ordinary. He was with Xie Qingxue for 3 years. Yet he didn't care about the Xie family's status and fortune. She tried to use Gu Xian to destroy the relationship between Xie Qingxue and Shen Yi, to break her alliance with the Shen family. But now, it wasn't having any effect. Instead, it had even dragged Shen Lily into it. Today, on the plane ride here, she suddenly thought of another possibility, which was that Gu Xian's charming and free-spirited demeanor was intentionally cultivated by Xie Qingxue to charm and seduce Shen Lily. Xie Yuanhua knew Shen Lily was rebellious now and didn't want to confront her head-on. She switched to a smile and patted her shoulder. All right, look at you right now. What a mess. Go take a bath. I've had someone prepare a grand feast for all of you. All 3 of them returned to the racetrack. On the other side, Shen Yi was also fine. He had been brought back by the racetrack's trainer, but he was still shaken. After seeing Xia Qingshui, he ran over and hugged Xia Qingshu's waist tightly. Fourth aunt. When he returned just now, he heard from the trainer who rescued him that it was Xia Qingshui who told him to come save him. Moreover, they had also watched the racetrack surveillance footage just now. Shen Yi's and Gu Xian's horses lost control at the same time. His fourth aunt, almost without hesitation, had run towards him. That was enough. As for why, in the end, she came back with Gu Xian. He didn't want to know. Shen Yi hugged Xia Qingshu, and tears immediately fell. Fourth aunt. I thought I would never see you again. Xia Qingshui saw that Shen Yi was fine, and also breathed a sigh of relief. She patted Shen Yi's shoulder, then pushed him away, comforting him. It's good that you're okay. Don't cry anymore. The newly repaired Xiao Fei also flew over unsteadily. The live stream room had been off for an hour, and suddenly, the feed came back. Oh my god. We can watch again. Thank heavens. Brother, Anne and Shen Yi are both okay. Shen Yi hugging Miss Xie and crying. I feel so bad for this couple. After surviving a disaster, they've seen each other's true feelings. Are they finally getting together? I don't know why. I don't ship this couple anymore. I feel bad for our brother and being used by them as a tool. Brother Anne. If it's too much, let's just quit the show. Gu Xian was expressionless, watching Shen Yi hug Xia Qingshui when they both ran into trouble. Xia Qingshui had instinctively run towards Shen Yi. That was enough to prove Shen Yi's place in her heart. Then, I wish them happiness. Yi, long time no see. You've grown so much. A woman's voice came from behind Xia Qingshui. Shen Yi's body immediately stiffened. He almost couldn't believe it. Only then did Shen Yi clearly see Xia Yuanhua's face. This woman seemed to never age. Apart from a moment of shock, Shen Yi's entire expression was as if he had seen a ghost. He unconsciously took a step back, but Xia Qingshu held his trembling shoulders firmly. Just a toy for when she's occasionally bored. A yai, greet her. Shen Yi was terrified in his heart. He hadn't seen Xia Yuanhua in many years, but this person always appeared in his nightmares. That smiling face was the nightmare of their entire family. Shen Yi also knew that sooner or later he would have to confront this woman head-on. With Xia Qingshu's encouragement, he tried to control his emotions. Aunt Xia, long time no see. Xia Yuanhua walked over, her gaze fixed on Shen Yi's face, as if scrutinizing his face intently. Then she gave a faint smile. You and your mother really are becoming more and more alike. The aura raised by a mistress is pitiful indeed. Xia Yuanhua showed Shen Yi no respect at all. The people around were also very shocked to hear this, but they all basically knew Xia Yuanhua's background, so they didn't dare to say a word. Shen Yi's face flushed red with anger and embarrassment. He really wanted to retort, but the fear in his heart made him speechless. Xia Qingshui suddenly spoke up. Eldest sister, leave the children out of it. Since birth, a Yi has been the official young master of the Shen family, the apple of old Master Shen's eye. His aura is naturally not lacking. Shen Yi knew Xia Qingshui was using the Shen family's old master to pressure Xia Yuanhua. He gave Xia Qingshui a grateful look. Xia Yuanhua sneered. She didn't think anything of Shen Yi at all, just a toy for when she's occasionally bored. But now she has a better toy. Xia Yuanhua turned around. You must all be hungry. Let's go to the villa together. The butler also approached from a distance and bowed respectfully to Xia Yuanhua. Madam Chairman Xia, the meal is ready to welcome you and wash away the dust of your journey. A while later, everyone was present in the villa's dining hall. The large round table was made of white Hotan jade, and on it was a spread of rich dishes. Behind each chair was a server to place food on the guests' plates, and they were all handsome young men. It was very eye-catching. This island always gave him a feeling of strange danger. The old butler was very polite and patient, explaining the dishes on the table to everyone. The level of luxury was jaw-dropping, but everyone had their own worries. Jiang Jingzhe and Liu Ru were quite reserved at first. After all, their entertainment company was an agency under Jinhua Supermedia, but they had been in the entertainment industry for many years and had reached the level of Best Actor and Best Actress, yet they had never met this legendary big boss. It was said she lived abroad year-round, but after seeing the delicious dishes being brought out one by one, Jiang Jingzi stopped overthinking it. His eyes were fixed on the food on the table, his eyes shining brightly. Shen Yi was still very reserved. He sat close to Xia Qingshui, sitting in the seat furthest from Xia Yuanhua. He was very scared in his heart, but seeing his fourth aunt beside him, he wasn't afraid anymore. As for Gu Xian, he was arranged to sit next to Xia Yuanhua. His face was cold, showing no expression, but there was a clear hint of vigilance in his eyes. This can't be a feast at Hong Gate, can it? Gu Xian was also a little worried in his heart, but no matter what, he could only brace himself and face it now. The remaining seat next to Xia Yuanhua was empty. A moment later, Xi Ming also arrived. Seeing Xia Yuanhua, he launched into a string of flattery. After Xi Ming sat down, the table was now missing two people. One was Wei Tingfang, the other was Shen Lily. Xia Yuanhua asked a question. Director Xie, where is little Wei? Xi Ming didn't expect Xia Yuanhua to ask about Wei Tingfang, but for this show, the guest list had already been decided, so it was possible that Wei Tingfang and Xia Yuanhua had some connection. Xi Ming glanced at Xia Qingshui. Xia Qingshu's face was expressionless. She was looking down, pouring herself some water. Xi Ming could only brace himself and lie. Teacher Wei isn't feeling well. He has requested to withdraw from the show. We sent him home to rest yesterday. Xia Yuanhua said nonchalantly. Really? My heart also skipped a beat. I knew Wei Tingfang's true identity. Could it be that she came this time because Wei Tingfang is missing? Where is Wei Tingfang now? I don't know either. And I especially don't know how Xie Qingshui will handle Wei Tingfang. I can only quietly watch these two sisters fight. Xie Qingshui spoke. Why is the eldest sister suddenly so concerned about a small star in the entertainment industry? Xia Yuanhua acted nonchalant, the beloved disciple of an old friend. I am just asking a question. The others didn't think much of it either. Jiang Jingse was eager to eat, but I don't know if it was because not everyone had arrived yet. Xia Yuanhua didn't say to start eating. She didn't move her chopsticks. Naturally, no one else dared to move theirs. Jiang Jings couldn't help but ask, where's Lily? Why isn't she here yet? Someone said. Lily fell off her horse just now. Her clothes were all torn. She went back to her room to change. As they were speaking, Shen Lily appeared at the dining room entrance. She walked in very casually, and then very naturally, pulled out the chair next to Xia Yuanhua and sat down. She asked, why isn't everyone eating yet? Su Yichen saw her nonchalant demeanor and looked at her gloatingly. He had wanted to sit in the seat next to Xia Yuanhua earlier, but was stopped by the butler, who said that their chairman Xia didn't like having people sit next to her. But for some reason, Gu Xian was later arranged to sit to Xia Yuanhua's left. Now, there was still an empty seat on her right, and Shen Lily just casually sat down like that. He was waiting for the butler to come and shoo Shen Lily away, but all he got was a sentence from Xia Yuanhua. Everyone is here now, let's eat. Su Yishan felt very aggrieved. He deliberately said with a fawning smile, Miss Shen, you're the one with the most clout. The chairman actually waited for you to arrive before starting the meal. Su Yichen was trying to harm Shen Lily with his flattery, because he knew very well that there was no way Xia Yuanhua was waiting for Shen Lily. It must have been just a coincidence. He intentionally said that Xia Yuanhua was giving her face, but she's just an unknown model. How could she be worthy of Chairman Zai's favor? He was just waiting for Shen Lily to be embarrassed in front of everyone, to get revenge for her making him eat snake sashimi. But in the next second, he saw Xia Yuanhua use her chopsticks to pick up the first piece of beef and place it in Shen Lily's bowl. Moreover, she didn't even use the serving chopsticks. Her voice was also full of tender concern. Why have you gotten so thin? You haven't been eating properly. Have you? Seeing this scene, almost everyone was stunned. At first, Shen Lily didn't respond. She just lowered her head and ate the beef. But Xia Yuanhua kept putting food in her bowl. Shen Lily finally couldn't take it anymore. Mom, I am not a child anymore. I can eat by myself. In an instant, the entire dining room fell bizarrely silent. Livestream chat. Mom, why did Shen Lily call the eldest princess of the Xia family Mom? Let an insider tell you guys. Shen Lily is Xia Yuanhua's only daughter. With her ex-husband, Shen Zishan, she carries the blood of two major families in the capital, the Xias and the Shens. Moreover, she's the eldest granddaughter in both. To some extent, her status is even more noble than Miss Xias. In the future, she can not only inherit the Xia Empire, but also the Shen family's domain. Jiang Jingse was in the middle of picking up a 4-happiness meatball, about to put it in his mouth, when he heard Shen Lily say Mom. The meatball fell with a clatter onto his porcelain plate, making a crisp sound, but his mouth was hanging open even wider. After hearing this, Liu Yi couldn't remain calm either. She quietly put down the chopsticks in her hand. Her gaze shifted back and forth between Shen, Lily, and Xia Yuanhua. Gu Xian and Shai Qingshui, of course, were not surprised. As for Shen Yi, he secretly glanced up at Xia Yuanhua, and then quickly lowered his head again. He was sitting on pins and needles, just hoping for this meal to end quickly. Only Su Yichen was left, seemingly not having reacted at all. Shen Lily, are you crazy? Even if you want to cling to Chairman Xia, you can't just casually call her mom. Do you have any shame? The reason Su Yichen said this was because from the first moment he saw Xia Yuanhua, he had thought 1,000 times in his heart, it would be great if Xia Yuanhua could adopt me as a godson. For so many years, he had countless godfathers and godmothers, sometimes at parties, as long as he was a little thick-skinned, and called out godfather or godmother. Those rich and powerful people usually wouldn't refuse. He was thinking about how to get closer to Xia Yuanhua, but he never expected Shen Lily to just call out so sweetly. And she didn't even call her godmother, but mom. This Shen Lily's shamelessness is astounding. Everyone looked at Su Yichen as if he were an idiot. Xia Yuanhua suddenly let out a laugh. Mr. Su, don't my daughter and I look alike? Hearing Xia Yuanhua answer personally, Su Yichen finally understood completely. Shen Lily was actually Xia Yuanhua's daughter. In other words, she is the eldest princess of the Xia group. After his shock, Su Yichen was filled with immense regret. If he had known her status was so noble, he would have pursued her from the very beginning. After his surprise, Su Yichen completely changed his tune. Lily, you're Chairman Xai's daughter. Why didn't you say so sooner? It caused so many misunderstandings between us. Su Yichen poured himself a glass of red wine. Let's not dwell on what happened before. It's fate that brought us all together here. I'd like to toast you. Can we let it all go? Su Yichen deliberately spoke ambiguously, to close the distance between himself and Shen Lily. Shen Lily was polite enough to raise her glass. Just as Su Yichen was feeling delighted, she took her glass and walked up behind Gu Xian. She placed one hand on the back of Gu Xian's chair, then leaned over and clinked her glass against Gu Xian's. Her voice was both sweet and gentle. Brother Xian, I'd like to toast you. I was a little awkward, but I still raised my wine glass casually and clinked it against Shen Lilis. Shen Lily took a sip. Only then did she look towards the sideline Su Yichen. Su Yichen's expression had become extremely ugly. Shen Lily looked at him, still with an innocent look on her face. Mr. Su, there's no grudge between you and me, but on the first night of filming, you hid king cobra eggs under Brother Xian's bed, which almost got Brother Xian bitten by a snake. I think you should apologize to Brother Xian. If he forgives you, then we can let everything go between us. Instantly, Su Yichen's face turned beet red. He had almost forgotten about this matter, because he had already paid a heavy price for it. He never expected it to be brought up again today. Xiao Fei Fei, which had been perched on a nearby eave, I heard this and immediately zipped over to Su Yichen, circling ceaselessly above his head. After being on air for so long, Su Yichen got an exclusive close-up shot for the first time. Livestream chat. Su Yichen hid king cobra eggs under Brother An's bed. Does he want to kill Brother An? He was the one who brought the king cobra eggs back that day. Brother An said the snake would track them by scent. He must have been afraid the snake would come after him, so he deliberately tried to make Brother An a scapegoat. Su Yichen is too vicious. No wonder Lily made him eat snake sashimi before. I even cyberbullied Lily over this. Why aren't the Su fans saying anything? Aren't you guys usually the most active? Su Yichen was stunned for a second. After seeing Xiao Fei Fei, he knew that this was definitely being broadcast live. Shen, Lily, don't you dare slander me. What proof do you have? Maybe Ju Xian hid it himself to get views and frame me. As long as he doesn't admit it, no one can convict him. Shen Lily said, this is something everyone understands implicitly. If you didn't do it, when my aunt made you swallow the snake egg, why didn't you dare to refuse? I was a little surprised. Xia Qingshu forced Su Yichen to swallow that snake egg. I looked up at Xi Qingshu. Zhai Yi Qingshu's expression was as distant and cold as usual. Su Yichen, think carefully. What did she say back then? Back then, she said, if he didn't eat that snake egg, she would ruin his reputation completely and make him rot in jail. Su Yichen knew that if he didn't admit it, even if he escaped moral condemnation, Xia Qingshui wouldn't let him go. People with their status could crush him more easily than an ant. Su Yichen looked into Xia Qingshu's terrifyingly cold eyes, and his psychological defense completely crumbled. You said you wouldn't tell anyone, and you wouldn't make it public. I've already been punished, haven't I? Gu Xian nearly broke my bones. I almost choked to death, swallowing that snake egg raw. I got anorexia from eating snake sashimi, and almost starved to death. Are these punishments still not enough? Su Yichen slumped back into his chair, tears streaming down his face. You all went back on your word. You just want to destroy me. Xia Qingshui's voice was indifferent. I said back then that if you pulled any more tricks and harmed anyone, I absolutely would not let you off easily. Su Yichen said loudly. I didn't. Xia Qingshui said coolly. Why did those two horses go mad today? Su Yichen was stunned for a moment and seemed to understand. What does that have to do with me? At this moment, the trainer from the racecourse walked in. He respectfully walked up to Sai Yuanhua and said, Chairman, we just checked the surveillance cameras. Juliet and Shakespeare suddenly went mad because Mr. Su fed them a banned substance. Because these horses are all racehorses, they have to be trained daily. Normally, if they get injured, for convenience of treatment, there's a dedicated hospital next to the stables. Inside, all kinds of medicines are placed on shelves. The trainer had given a tour of it before. Su Yiken's eyes widened. You're framing me. I didn't do it. But Xia Yuanhua didn't seem to want to hear his explanation. She waved her hand dismissively. When we return to the country, take this kind of person straight to the police station. This is a society ruled by law. All evil deeds must be paid for. Everyone is equal before the law. We must abide by discipline and the law at all times. We must not have the heart to harm others. Su Yichen was dragged away, but as he left, he kept screaming until his voice was hoarse, saying that he was framed. Xia Qingshui heard Xia Yuanhua's righteous words and suddenly burst out laughing. The person who most disregards the law and treats human life like dirt is actually talking about how everyone is equal before the law. And at this moment, the chopstick next to Shen Yi suddenly fell. He hurriedly bent down to pick it up. Xia Qingshui glanced at Shen Yi. Shen Yi picked up the chopstick, but the hands holding his silver chopsticks were trembling slightly. A stern glint flashed in Xia Qingshui's eyes. Zhu Xian still maintained a calm expression, as if it had nothing to do with him. Actually, Gu Xian knew very well in his heart that this matter was definitely not as simple as it seemed. Su Yichen feeding the horses drugs. I am afraid someone was pulling the strings from behind. I am afraid this is just a play of a thief crying, "Stop, thief." Because of this commotion, the atmosphere of the meal became even stranger. Ximing was also trembling with fear. 2 of the 8 guests have had incidents now. How are we supposed to continue filming? After lunch was break time. Everyone went back to their rooms to rest. Before returning to his room, Hu Xian went to the restroom. Just as he came out of the restroom, he was blocked by two bodyguards. Mr. Gu, Chairman Saya invites you to watch a play with her. Du Xian looked around and found that there was no one around. Gu Xian tried to struggle. Can I not go? The bodyguard's face was stone cold. If Mr. Ju can escape from our grasp, then you don't have to go. One look, and you could tell Xia Yuanhua's bodyguards were top-tier experts. From how they subdued the crazed racehorse with their bare hands earlier, I had seen their skills. I couldn't even beat one of them, let alone two. Gu Xian knew his place. I spoke calmly, then I'll go by myself. I followed the two of them out of the villa. A black car was already parked outside. After getting in the car immediately left the castle villa. About half an hour later, it arrived at a place. The architecture here was very special, shaped like a birdcage. Gu Xian had seen this place on the map. It was the Grand Theater on the island. He got out of the car and followed the bodyguards inside. The theater was very large, but after entering, he discovered that all the decor here was very classical, like a magnificent palace. In the middle of the theater was a huge stage. Right now, a red curtain was covering it. In the middle of the audience, one person was sitting. It was Xia Yuanhua. Gu Xian's gaze darkened, but he still walked to Xia Yuanhua's side. Xia Yuanhua sat motionlessly, her hand still holding a porcelain cup, sipping tea. She took a sip of tea, then spoke. Mr. Jiu, have a seat. The good show is about to begin. After I sat down, the lights in the theater suddenly went dark. The thick red curtain on the stage was slowly drawn back. Actors in gorgeous costumes appeared on the stage. It was the classic Peking opera Farewell, My Concubine, from the gloomy scene, in the military camp to the magnificent palace, and finally to the Wujiang riverbank. Surrounded by the songs of Chu, the tragic scene of being surrounded by the songs of Chu, the sound of the moon guitar like the wind howling by the river, was incredibly tragic. Along with the rapid beat of the drums, the spotlight focused on Consort Yu alone. She wore a magnificent costume, an intricate headdress, and her face was sorrowful yet resolute. The melody of the songs of Chu floated in the background music. Consort Yu held a sharp sword, its blade glinting coldly in the faint candlelight. She slowly turned around, with her back to Xiang Yu, her eyes filled with despair and deep love. With a heavy sigh, Consort Yu suddenly raised the sword and placed it against her snow-white neck. The action was decisive and heroic. Accompanied by a mournful cry, fresh blood spurted out, staining the front of her robe red, and also staining the entire stage red. As the red spread across the stage, the thick red curtain slowly descended. The music gradually stopped. I was completely shocked. That final scene of blood splattering was just too realistic. I don't know much about Peking opera culture, but today's play seemed to have left a deep mark on my soul. Gu Xian's heart was surging with emotion. He turned to look at Xia Yuanhua. At this moment, Xia Yuanhua actually had tears in her eyes as well. Gu Xian felt even more shocked. Although Xia Yuanhua gave people a gentle and elegant impression, Gu Xian knew that she was a cold-blooded and ruthless person. But at this moment, she seemed to be revealing her true feelings. Her eyes were filled with endless pain and despair, as if she were Consort Yu on the stage, surrounded by the songs of Chu, where only death could bring release. Seemingly sensing Gu Xian's gaze, Xia Yuanhua lowered her head and took a handkerchief, an exquisite silk one, to wipe the tears from the corners of her eyes. Mr. Gu, you must be laughing at me. Xia Yuanhua made no attempt to hide it. Gu Xian could hear the tremble in her voice, as if she were still immersed in it, unable to break free. Gu Xian offered some awkward comfort. The chairman is also a person of deep feeling. After Xia Yuanhua dried her tears, she immediately changed her expression. Her smile was elegant but concealed a coldness. What did you think of this play, Mr. It? I answered honestly. Although I don't understand Peking opera, I was deeply shaken. Xia Yuanhua asked again. Consort Yu died. Xiang Yu eventually took his own life at Wujiang. I've always had a question. Assuming that Xiang Yu didn't die in the end, but lived on miserably in the world, would Consort Yu hate him in the afterlife? I saw that Xia Yuanhua's expression was extremely serious, and her eyes held incredibly complex emotions. I could sense that she definitely had a hidden meaning in asking this question, but for the moment, I couldn't figure out the reason behind it. I didn't understand, and was afraid there was some kind of verbal trap in it, so I could only answer cautiously. I don't know. Xia Yuanhua also gave a bitter laugh. When she looked up again, she had completely returned to her usual self. I didn't want to discuss the play with her anymore, so I asked, Chairman, did you bring me here just to watch a play with you? Of course not. Xia Yuanhua took from the chair beside her her custom-made Hermes leather bag. Then she opened it and took out an exquisite pistol from inside. A Swiss P210 pistol made of gold. Gu Xian's heart skipped a beat. Seeing Xia Yuanhua holding a gun, my scalp tingled for a moment. Xia Qingxue once said that Xia Yuanhua was a lunatic. At this moment, the fear in my heart began to feel real. I tensed up and clenched my fists, but my mind had already begun to observe the surroundings, working frantically, planning an escape route. If Xia Yuanhua were to shoot at me, I was 90% certain I could snatch the gun from her hand. But in this theater, there were probably many of Xia Yuanhua's people lying in ambush. To get out alive, the only way was to take Xia Yuanhua hostage. I was waiting for the right moment, ready to strike at Anytime. But Xie Yuanhua didn't hastily raise her hand. She handed the golden gun in her hand to me. Mr. Gu, I didn't give you a gift when we first met. I am making up for it this time. I breathed a sigh of relief inwardly. Thankfully, it wasn't what I thought. I spoke calmly and cautiously. The Rolls-Royce of pistols. A custom gold P210. Xia Yuanhua looked at my expression with a hint of delight. I didn't expect Mr. Gu to be knowledgeable about guns as well. My voice was calm. I can't accept a reward without earning it. I cannot accept such a valuable gift. Xia Yuanhua chuckled. I have a task for you. After Mr. Gu helps me complete it, you will have earned it. I frowned. But Xia Yuanhua had already stood up. She grabbed my hand with one of hers, then placed the gun directly into my palm. Young Master Gu, I want you to use this gun to kill Shen Yi. My heart skipped a beat. It was almost a conditioned reflex. I wanted to pull my hand back. But Xia Yuanhua tightened her grip on my wrist. The smile on her face was gentle, as if she wasn't talking about murder, but rather, casually inviting someone for afternoon tea. My voice was cold. Chairwoman, a request like that, please forgive me, but I cannot comply. Xia Yuanhua still maintained her smiling expression. Her voice also kept its original tone. It seemed to contain a hint of amusement, but the words she spoke were unusually cold. If you can't do it, the one who dies under this gun will be you. My heart skipped a beat. My breathing began to quicken. My heartbeat also grew faster and faster. I still tried my best to calm myself down. Chairwoman, I think you have a misunderstanding about me. I already said I don't want to get involved. I am just a nobody from a small place. This game of the rich and powerful, I don't want it, and I am not qualified to participate. Therefore, Chairwoman, please let me go. I can guarantee that after leaving here, I will never see Xia Qingshu again in this lifetime, and I will never see Shen Lily again either. But Xia Yuanhua seemed completely unmoved. It wasn't me who chose you. It was fate that chose you. She seemed to think of something. A flicker of despair passed through her eyes. Back then, fate didn't spare me either. Why should I spare you? But these emotions were fleeting and disappeared. Then, Xia Yuanhua's face revealed, a smile full of amusement. Resistance is futile. You might as well enjoy this game. The winner will receive a worthy prize. Kill Shen Yi. I can guarantee you'll be able to walk away unscathed. Why do you insist on having me do it? This is your island. The people around you are all expert marksmen. For you to kill anyone is like squashing an ant. Why must you force me to do it? Gu Xian was starting to get a little angry. On the outside, he was still quite calm, but in his heart, he had already cursed the old witch 100 times. Xia Yuanhua said with interest, because it's interesting. That girl has a cold personality. Only with you is she different. I can see. She truly loves you, even to the point of using Shen Yi as a shield for all these years. But Shen Yi also holds a special meaning for her. He's the bridge between her and the Shen family. He's the powerful official who can help her ascend the throne later. He's a weapon in her pursuit of ultimate power and benefits. Of course, sometimes he's also her spiritual comfort. Shen Yi is, of course, very important to her. I am just very curious. This little sister of mine, when faced with love and benefits, which one will she ultimately give up? Just hearing it sent shivers down my spine. I must say, Xia Yuanhua actually understands Xia Qingshu very well. I spoke. I am not her love, so you're wrong to use me to test her limits. Actually, you've already tested it today, haven't you? My horse and Shen Yi's horse went mad at the same time. Su Yichen must just be a pawn of yours, right? I paused for a moment and continued speaking. You also saw Miss Kaya's first reaction. She cares more about Shen Yi, so you don't need to test it anymore. She will never choose me. Xia Yuanhua burst out laughing again. Young Master Gu, you seem to underestimate my sister's feelings for you. My sister is an expert horsewoman. Moreover, in some aspects, she's a genius. She had already used the map to calculate the closest path to you. From the very beginning, she never intended to chase Shen Yi. She still cares more about you. Actually, I figured it out later as well, saying that was just to confuse Xia Yuanhua. But she wasn't moved at all. I continued to speak. Then the chairwoman has already gotten the answer she wanted. If I am love, and Shen Yi is benefit, she ultimately chose me. What else do you need to test? Xia Yuanhua smiled. Young Master Ju, you really have a silver tongue. I frowned and stared at Xia Yuanhua. You just want to see her suffer. The corner of Xia Yuanhua's mouth curled up. Soon after, the curve grew wider. Finally, she burst out laughing. Yes, I just want to see her suffer. I just want to destroy the thing she cares about. Destroy her life. Destroy her will. Destroy everything she has. Xia Yuanhua's eyes were like they were laced with poison. She is the filthiest person in this world. She should never have been born. A sharp glint flashed in Xia Yuanhua's eyes. She is a demon. She is Satan. She should go to hell. She is not. She is human. She is your own flesh and blood sister. I got angry too. I almost shouted these words. You've always wanted to kill her, ever since she was a child. What sins can a child have? The real demon is you. The one who is utterly evil is also you. You are just making excuses for your own selfishness and desires. If she hadn't been born, you would be the first heir of the Xia family. For your own benefit and supreme status, you abandon her. You keep saying she's a demon. What exactly did she do to make you determined to drown her when she was 10? But fail? I asked these questions on behalf of Xia Qingshu. I remember when Xia Qingshu told me these things. The pain and despair in her heart, I could feel it. To be betrayed by a relative you once trusted and loved. What kind of despair is that? Not to mention Xia Yuanhua even wanted to kill her. This mental torture is even worse. Xia Yuanhua's expression changed slightly. She even told you about these things. Xia Yuanhua laughed loudly. It seems you're really not insignificant to her. I have calmed down. That was just a moment of impulse. I said, I don't want to get involved in these family feuds. Xia Yuanhua's smile gradually became crazed. Her elegance seemed to have a layer of disguise ripped away. What do you understand? You don't understand anything. The thing I regret most now is that when she was 10, I had a moment of weakness. She is the embodiment of sin. Filthy blood flows in her bones. Her existence is an eternal sin that can never be washed away. She is the retribution for everyone in our family. You won't understand. Perhaps only when she dies will this world become clean. Gu Xian looked at Xia Yuanhua's appearance. He only felt as if she was wearing the magnificent human skin of a demon. The words she spoke, every single word sent a chill down one's spine, making one's hair stand on end. I just feel that there are other family grudges involved. Perhaps it's not just a simple fight over inheritance. Chairwoman, she is your own sister. After all, I tried to use their blood relationship to awaken a bit of her conscience, but when Xia Yuanhua heard the words, blood is thicker than water, her emotions became even more agitated. Her eyes were bloodshot, her face was ferocious. She turned around and immediately grabbed my neck. I have no relationship with her whatsoever. She's not a child. She is a malignant tumor. I wouldn't acknowledge her even if I died. Xia Yuanhua's fingers gradually tightened. I felt a little breathless. Actually, for me, fighting back and killing her is as easy as turning over my hand. But I just saw in the theater, every corner was filled with Xia Yuanhua's people. There was even a sniper on the second floor. The dark muzzle of the gun was aimed at my forehead. I couldn't resist. Otherwise, my head would be blown to pieces on the spot. Xia Yuanhua finally came to her senses. She slowly let go of me. Xia Yuanhua sat back down in her chair, fixing her makeup and hairstyle. As for me, I leaned on the left chair, coughing violently. Xia Yuanhua finally returned to her previous state. Looking at me, barely able to stand from the lack of oxygen, she spoke. Young Master Gu, being kind to others is being cruel to yourself. You think your horse went mad was really because of Su Yi Chen? Of course not. It was Shen Yi. You refuse to kill him now, but he might not want you to live. My coughing suddenly stopped. It was Shen Yi who drugged the horse. On the other side, after finishing lunch, after Shen Yi left the restaurant, he went back to his room, but not long after. There was a knock on the door. Shen Yi went to open the door and saw Xia Qingxue standing at the door. A flash of joy appeared between Shen Yi's eyebrows. Fourth aunt. Between Xia Qingxue's brows was a completely serious expression. I have something to talk to you about. Shen Yi hurriedly opened the door. Fourth aunt, come in and talk. After Xia Qingxue entered, Shen Yi closed the door, but the door was left slightly ajar. Seeing Xia Qingxue's rarely seen serious expression, Shen Yi spoke to comfort her. Fourth aunt, are you afraid Xia Yuanhua will pull some trick? I don't think you need to worry too much for now. After all, we are filming a live show. She can't be stupid enough to let her evil deeds be exposed to the media. Actually, when he first saw Xia Yuanhua, Shen Yi was very scared, but now he's thought it through. 1. Xia Qingxue is by his side. She still cares about him so much. 2. He realized this is a live show. No matter what Xia Yuanhua wants to do, she'll have some reservations. But Xia Qingxue's expression didn't soften at all. On the contrary, it grew heavier. Shen Yi, seeming to sense that something was wrong, he cautiously probed. Fourth aunt, did you come to see me for something else? Xia Qingxue got straight to the point. Why did you do such a self-destructive thing? Shen Yi's expression suddenly stiffened. Then he pretended not to understand. Fourth aunt, what are you talking about? Shen Yi, I'll give you one more chance. If you're not going to be honest with me, then let's pretend I never said anything. But don't you regret it? Xia Qingxue's gaze rested on Shen Yi, like a dagger, coldly emitting a frosty light. It was the first time Shen Yi had seen such a look in Xia Qingxue's eyes. His heart felt like it was being squeezed. He stood there, stunned like a statue. Xia Qingxue said nothing. She turned to leave. Just as Xia Qingxue was about to reach the door, Shen Yi suddenly ran over and hugged Xia Qingxue from behind. Fourth aunt, I was wrong. I was really wrong. Please forgive me, just this once. But Xia Qingxue mercilessly pushed him away. Tell me what really happened. This morning when the butler took me to see the stables, he gave me a small bottle of crystal candy. He said the horses at the racetrack eat it. This candy will make them more excited than usual. He said whoever I hate, I could feed this drug to their horse. Xia Qingxue's voice was cold. Her look towards Shen Yi was cold and disappointed. So, you put this drug in Go Xian's horse. You wanted to kill him. No, fourth aunt, it's not like that. I never thought of harming him. I was just so confused. I didn't know between him and me. In your heart, who was more important? So I wanted to use this method to confirm it. Shen Yi looked up at Xia Qingxue. Fourth aunt, I didn't just feed the crystal candy to his horse. I fed it to my horse too. If I really wanted to kill him, I wouldn't have fed this candy to my own horse. I thought the horses would just get a little excited. I didn't expect it to be so serious. I feel like I was set up too. It's a trap by Xia Yuanhua. Shen Yi said so much, but Xia Qingshui seemed completely unmoved. Shen Yi pulled on Xia Qingshu's sleeve. I really didn't want to hurt anyone. Fourth aunt. I didn't do it on purpose. I just wanted to confirm that you care more about me. After I knew what happened, when you were the first one to chase after me, I already regretted it. I regretted it so much. Fourth aunt. I was wrong. Xia Qingshu coldly shook off Shen Yi's hand. I think you misunderstood. From the very beginning, I went to chase him. Shen Yi's pupils dilated. But you were clearly heading in my direction. I've seen the surveillance footage. I just took a shortcut through that mountainside. That one sentence almost made Shen Yi collapse mentally. Tears immediately blurred his entire face. No wonder they came back together in the end. Shen Yi couldn't lie to himself anymore. Fourth aunt. Why can't you lie to me a little? Xia Qingshui continued speaking. Didn't I make it clear enough before? The person I love is Gu Xian and only him. I have no romantic feelings for you whatsoever. Don't get any improper ideas. Don't make me feel like the past 8 years of protecting you with all my might was the most unworthy thing to do. Xia Qingshu's coldness completely shattered Shen Yi's defenses. He finally questioned her loudly. Fourth aunt, if you have no romantic feelings for me, why were you with me last night? Xia Qingshui furrowed her brows upon hearing this. What did you say? Shen Yi immediately pulled open his collar. Fourth aunt, aren't these the marks you left? Shen Yi's eyes were filled with stubborn tears. Fourth aunt, you were drunk. I won't blame you, and I won't force you to take responsibility, but you can't trample on me. Xia Qingshui saw the red marks on his neck. She only glanced at them before looking away. Xia Qingshu finally understood what Shen Yi was thinking. She spoke calmly. Last night, it was Wei Dingfang, not me. Shen Yi abruptly looked up. His face changed drastically. He showed a look of disbelief. Silent for more than 10 seconds, he finally asked with a trembling voice, Fourth aunt, what did you say? Last night, Xia Qingshui had felt a little reluctant, but now she was as calm as water. Wei Dingfang is Xia Yuanhua's man. He was meant to get close to you from the start. Xia Qingshui looked at him. His face looked as if it had been struck by lightning. She sighed heavily. Last night, it was Gu Xian who saved you. He arrived just in time. Wei Dingfang didn't cause you any irreversible damage. Shen Yi knew what Xia Qingshu meant, but he still couldn't accept such an outcome. His body was covered in hickeys, from head to toe. He couldn't accept that the person who left marks on his body was someone other than his fourth aunt. He fell to the ground with a thud. The noise attracted the person in the next room. Jiang Jingzi came over, just in time to see this scene. His face was full of confusion. He didn't know what had happened. A moment later, Shen Lily also rushed over, but she didn't care about Shen Yi sitting on the ground. Instead, she spoke directly to Xia Qingshui. Fourth aunt, brother Xian is missing. Xia Qingshui abruptly turned her head. What do you mean? Missing? Didn't I tell you to follow him and not leave his side for a moment? Xia Qingshui knew their current situation. Leaving Gu Xian with Shen Lily was definitely the safest. She didn't know what Xia Yuanhua would do to me when she went crazy. Shen Lily also looked worried. Brother Xian said he needed to use the restroom. I waited outside for a long time but didn't see him, but I found this in the hallway. Shen Lily held a watch in her hand. Xia Qingshu recognized it at a glance. It was the one Gu Xian wore most often. Xia Qingshu's temples throbbed. Her breathing also became rapid. My intuition told me something had happened. She rushed to the door. As she reached the door, she said a word to Jiang Jingzi. Keep an eye on a Yi. Don't let him do anything stupid. After saying that, she strode out of the room. Shen Lily followed as well, looking at Shen Yi crying until his whole body trembled. She also knew something major must have happened. Shen Lily looked at Xia Qingshu's face. She had a bad feeling in her heart. Xia Qingshui asked her, how long has Xian been missing? Shen Lily spoke up. For half an hour. Xia Qingshu got angry again. Why did you only tell me? After he's been missing for half an hour? Shen Lily seemed not to understand. Brother Xian probably just got lost. Youngest aunt, why are you so tense? Shen Lily really thought so. She wasn't worried that anything would happen to me. It's just that this place is too big. I must have gone the wrong way, but this wasn't anything serious. But Xia Qingshui didn't know how to explain it to Shen Lily. She quickly found the butler to ask, where is Xian now? The old butler had a kind smile on his face. I haven't seen young Master Gu. But Xia Qingshui suddenly grabbed the butler's vest collar. Ask again. Where have you hidden him? I really don't know. The old butler's smile didn't even change. There wasn't a hint of panic, but the more it was like this, the more it felt a bit creepy. Where is my eldest sister? Xia Qingshui had a feeling that Gu Xian's disappearance was inextricably linked to Xia Yuanhua. Where is Chairwoman Xia? I don't know either. Xia Qingshui knew she couldn't get any information from the butler, but she saw at a glance that the butler was holding a car key in his hand. It seemed he had just returned from somewhere. Xia Qingshu snatched the key, then she rushed outside. Shen Lily followed as well. Xia Qingshui found that car. After getting in the car, Shen Lily also opened the passenger side door. Shen Lily understood Xia Qingshui. She wasn't such an impetuous person to make her so tense. Something must have happened. Youngest aunt, you don't need to be so worried. My mother definitely won't harm Brother Xian. Previously, Xia Qingshui had advised her to give up on pursuing Gu Xian, saying that Xia Yuanhua couldn't accept Gu Xian. Her actions would bring life-threatening danger to Gu Xian. But Shen Lily didn't feel it was that serious. Perhaps Xia Yuanhua wouldn't agree, but my mom would never harm brother Xian because of that. Her mother is strict, though, but in her eyes, she's still the person who loves her the most. Xie Qingshu's voice was cold. So right now, you'd better pray that she hasn't made a move yet. Youngest aunt, you must have some misunderstanding about my mom. She's your biological sister. Why do you look at her like that? Xie Qingshui didn't say anything else. The car sped along. On the way, in Shai Qingzue's mind, a map of this island appeared. She suddenly remembered there was a grand theater on the island, and her sister was obsessed with Peking opera. She remembered when she was very young. Her eldest sister would always sing opera in the backyard. She would sing Farewell, My Concubine, and she always wore the armor of the hegemon king, singing it over and over. When she was little, she loved to secretly watch her eldest sister sing opera. She sang very well, with a brilliant, heroic aura, but Xie Qingshui didn't know why. Every time her eldest sister sang the final part, she would have an episode. After that, the old master had the stage at home dismantled and forbade her from singing opera at home. Everyone thought she had recovered, but in reality, she became even more insane. She sponsored countless famous Peking opera performers outside, built countless stages just to sing with her in endless performances of Farewell, My Concubine. Of course, Xia Qingshui had only learned of this recently. It was information that Gao Qin got from Wei Jingrong while investigating Wei Tingfang. Therefore, Shai Qingshu had a feeling Shai Yu and Hao would be there. The theater was very far from the villa. It even required passing through a winding mountain road. After an unknown amount of time, they finally arrived at a large theater shaped like a birdcage. After the car stopped, Shai Qingshui rushed inside. Then she saw Xie Yuanhua and Gu Xian just as they were walking out. They walked one after the other, calm and unhurried. Xia Qingshui finally slowed down and quietly breathed a sigh of relief. By the time she reached them, Xia Qingshui had regained her usual composure. Shai Yuanhua saw Shai Qingshui and Shen Lily. Why are you two here? Shen Lily also breathed a sigh of relief, but still said, we couldn't find brother Xian. We thought he was missing. I didn't expect him to be with you. Mom, I spoke up first. I got lost after leaving the restroom. I happened to run into the chairwoman. The chairwoman invited me to watch the opera with her, so I agreed. Shen Lily's mood brightened up immediately. It wasn't at all like what youngest aunt had guessed. Shen Lily looked at Xie Qingshui and said, youngest aunt, I told you brother Xian was just lost. You were so worried that brother Xian was in danger. Shai Qingshui said nothing, but her gaze swept over Gu Xian. It finally landed on my neck. Gu Xian's neck was flushed red, with a very clear handprint. Xie Qingshu's fingers clenched tightly. Shai Yuanhua spoke. I am tired. I want to rest a bit. Lily, you can take Mr. Gu for a walk around here. There are quite a few fun places here. If Mr. Gu needs anything, just tell me. Shen Lily made a saluting gesture. She said playfully, yes, sir, my queen. The most beautiful in the world. Xie Yuanhua was so amused her eyes curved into crescents. Soon, surrounded by several bodyguards, Shai Yuanhua got into a black car. I also got into Xie Qingshu's car. On the way, Shen Lily was very excited. Brother Xian. Kei Qingshui suddenly stopped the car. Lily, get out of the car. I have something to talk to Xian about. Shen Lily was displeased. What is it that I can't hear? Xie Qingshu used a commanding tone. Get out. Shen Lily pouted. Although she was very unhappy, her body was very honest. She opened the car door and got out. Who could blame her? She had always been obedient to her youngest aunt since childhood. Her body seemed to have developed an instinct. But as soon as Shen Lily got out of the car, the moment the door closed, Xie Qingshui started the car and sped off. Shen Lily reacted. Youngest aunt, how could you leave me behind? Youngest aunt, you're so mean. As the car sped faster and faster, Shen Lily's figure quickly disappeared from the rearview mirror. Only then did Shai Qingshui speak. What did my sister say to you? My expression was still a bit dazed, as if I hadn't fully recovered from the shock. I still remember. Just now, when he once again refused Xia Yuanhua's request, which was to kill Shen Yai, Xia Yuanhua ordered him onto the stage. The heavy curtain on the stage was slowly drawn open again, and on it lay two more dead bodies. Yuji and Shang Yu. Fresh blood flowed from their necks. Their bodies were both drenched in fresh blood. The entire stage was stained red with blood. At that moment, I was almost stunned. For a moment, I couldn't tell if the acting was too realistic or if it was real. He was stunned for a few seconds, then suddenly reacted. He rushed forward to check on the two people. Their bodies were already cold. I stepped back several times in fear, almost falling off the stage. Just then, several bodyguards came onto the stage and carried the two people away. They were expressionless, as cold as if they were just clearing away props. It was as if this kind of thing they had done countless times before. Gu Xian's voice trembled. Why kill them? Shai Yuanhua laughed and said, they sacrificed themselves for art. Only a performance like this can truly shake one's soul. Don't you think? My eyes were also filled with fear, although I had been through a lot and considered myself experienced, having tasted the bitterness of life. But this was the moment I felt like I was in hell. The devil was right beside me. Half an hour ago, these two people were still vividly alive on stage, but now they had become two cold corpses. Xia Yuanhua was truly a psychopath, an extreme psychopath. They were born to die for the opera. From their very first rehearsal, they knew this would be their fate. This grand visual feast with Mr. Go, enjoying it with me, is also an unforgettable day. My fingers clenched. Mr. Gu, you don't need to pity them. They were willing, because their sacrifice for art has bought generations of wealth and glory for their families. Immediately after, Xia Yuanhua added, of course, if they hadn't been obedient, their families would have been implicated as well. I heard the threat in Xia Yuanhua's words. My parents disowned me long ago. The chairwoman must be well aware of my situation. The Gu family may have disowned you, but what about Lai Shufan? My fingers trembled. What do you want to do? Kill Shen Yi, and you can live. I will let your biological mother live out the rest of her life in peace, living 100,000 times more proudly than Qin Huilin. By then, you will definitely be grateful to me. The golden pistol was placed into a bag. Xia Yuanhua handed the bag to me. What if I don't agree? Then you will absolutely not leave this island alive. Furthermore, the rest of your biological mother's life will be spent like a stray dog. I closed my eyes. I only just realized Xia Qingshui was talking to me. I suppressed my emotions. She said Shen Yi drugged my horse. Xia Qingshui was silent for a moment before speaking. He did it. Xia Qingshui asked again, how do you want to deal with him? She knew Gu Xian was the type to repay every grievance. Gu Xian's voice was as calm as stagnant water. I might kill him. Upon hearing that, Xia Qingshui slammed on the brakes. The car stopped right by the roadside. This place was actually a mountain road, and the car was hidden among the surrounding tall trees. A hint of coldness also entered Xia Qingshui's voice. What did you say? I lowered my head, my eyelids drooping, my gaze fixed on the leather bag in my hands. But when I looked up again, my eyes were as calm as water. So you must protect him well. It's best not to leave his side, for even a moment, until we leave this island. In that moment when I lowered my head, I was considering whether to tell Xia Qingshui about the golden pistol. But in the end, I didn't say anything. Xia Yuanhua had warned me. If I let Xia Qingshui know from the start, it wouldn't be fun anymore. If it wasn't fun, Xia Yuanhua would get very angry. This was a complete threat. If it were just me, it would be fine. But now, even Li Xufan was involved. I didn't even know what to do next. My mind was a mess right now. The two corpses kept flashing in my mind, cold on the stage. I felt both scared and uncomfortable, and even an indescribable sense of guilt. If I hadn't gone to watch that opera, would those two innocent people not have died? Xia Qingshui also noticed that Gu Xian's fingers were trembling slightly. She turned around, reaching out to take my hand, but I dodged it. What on earth happened in the theater? What's wrong with your neck? I looked up at Xia Qingshu. If something happens to me in these 2 days, after you get back, go to Luoyan Villa. There are 2 items in the safe in the bedside table, a file and a pink longevity lock. Give the file to Li Xufan and give the jade lock to Wen Yueting's mother. Xia Qingshui saw my dazed expression, as if I were giving my last words. She frowned deeply. Taking advantage of my distraction, she snatched the bag I was holding. She opened it right away and took out a golden pistol from inside. Xia Qingshui wasn't surprised at all. No matter what Xia Yuanhua did, she wouldn't be surprised. Xia Qingshu's face was as cold as ice. My sister gave this to you, telling you to kill me or Shen Yi. I hadn't expected Xia Qingshui to snatch my bag, but conversely, I felt a sense of relief. I answered mechanically and honestly, Shen Yi. The answer was just as Xia Qingshui had guessed. Xia Yuanhua loved this kind of script the most. Xia Qingshui put the gun back in the bag and handed it to Gu Xian. You keep this. Use it for self-defense. At any time, when you have no other choice, your life's safety comes first, even if it means killing me or Shen Yi. I looked at Xia Qingshui in surprise. You're willing to let Shen Yi die? Xia Qingshui answered calmly. I have no right to decide his life or death, but if you have no other choice, if both you and he are pushed to a moment of life and death, don't hold back for my sake. You have to survive. A flash of guilt and pain appeared inside Qingzu's eyes. I am sorry. I was the one who dragged you into this deadly game. My selfishness and greed have harmed you. I shook my head. It's not your fault. You're innocent too. This was the first time I had witnessed Xia Yuanhua's cruelty and madness. I could finally understand what kind of environment Xia Qingshui had grown up in. I asked again, can we leave here? Xia Qingshui's face was grave. Not right now. Ever since Xia Yuanhua came to the island, the entire island's signal has been blocked. Although the livestream room can still see the footage, it's using the island's special satellite signal. I've already contacted Director XIE. The footage in the livestream room is delayed by 10 minutes. In other words, the livestream is equivalent to a recording, so she can edit the content at will. Moreover, Director XIE is also trapped on the island. The livestream room has been taken over by Xia Yuanhua's people. Gu Xian quickly understood the key point, meaning we've completely lost contact with the outside world, like caged birds trapped on this island. I suddenly thought of the shape of the Grand Theater. It was a giant birdcage, and everyone on this island, whether it was the waiters whose tongues were cut out at the bar, or the actors who could only perform one opera on this stage their entire lives, or them, were all toys locked in Xia Yuanhua's cage, unable to escape. Xia Qingshui spoke again. You don't need to worry too much. Gao Qin and I have a secret code. If she can't contact me, it means I am in trouble. She will definitely find a way. Xia Qingshui stared at Gu Xian. If you get a chance, you must leave. Don't worry about anyone. Leave first. Don't hesitate. Understand? I looked at Xia Qingshui, my expression gradually calming down. What about you? Xia Qingshui's gaze darkened slightly. Don't worry. I won't die. I will negotiate with her. I still have a trump card. It's just that Xia Qingshui didn't know if Xia Yuanhua even cared about this trump card. Her situation now was indeed very difficult. For her, the most important thing now was to break the information blockade on this island. Fortunately, this field was her specialty. All she needed was a computer. Xia Qingshu said, "Let's go back to the villa now. Starting today, you must stick to Shen Lily like a shadow. It's best to sleep in the same room with her at night. When necessary, she is your hostage." Having chosen to be on the same side as Xia Qingshui, Gu Xian could only follow her arrangements. Okay. Xia Qingshui drove to the castle villa by the sea. Soon, the two of them entered the castle. Xia Qingshui said, "If we have a computer, our chances of survival will be greater." I quickly said, "There's a study on the 3rd floor. I've been there before. There's a computer inside." Xia Qingshu also spoke. "I've been there too, but the door is locked today. When they came before, there was a key on the door, but this afternoon, Xia Qingshu had checked, and the key had been taken by the butler." Xia Qingshui was considering finding the butler, but she was afraid of alerting the enemy. I said, "Then it's simple." The two of them arrived at the study door on the 3rd floor. The door here was an high-tech passcode or electronic lock. It was a traditional lock. The lock and key were both handcrafted by artisans, like a medieval European castle. Even the accompanying key was very artistic. I directly took out a small silver needle and inserted it into the lock, fiddling with it a few times. The door immediately opened. Xia Qingshui was extremely surprised. "This is one of the most complex imperial locks in the world. How did you do that?" I feigned innocence. "I don't know. I just fiddled with it for a bit and it opened." Soon, the two of them entered the study. Indeed, there was a computer on the desk. Xia Qingshui opened it and found there was a satellite network on the island. I couldn't understand her next moves. I just saw countless windows pop up on the computer. Xia Qingshu's fingers flew across the keyboard. Lines of code flowed from her fingertips like water. I couldn't help, so I went near the door to check for any movement outside. Very soon, Gu Xian heard footsteps approaching from a distance. I quickly reminded Xia Qingshui, "Are you done yet? Someone's coming." Xia Qingshui frowned, her concentration intense. 3 minutes. 3 more minutes. I stared at the person in the distance. Luckily, this corridor was long enough. The footsteps were still very far away. A minute passed. I could see a figure. It was the butler. The butler was Xia Yuanhua's man. With so many things happening to them recently, he almost always played a role in fanning the flames. If he discovered them, all their previous efforts would be for nothing. I held on to a sliver of hope, hoping the butler wasn't coming to the study. 30 meters from the study, a maid happened to come up the stairs. She met the butler. "Butler Qian, where are you going?" "To the study, to get a copy of an ancient painting. Chairwoman Xia wants to see it. Let me get it for you." "No need. I'll get it myself." My heart sank. What a coincidence. He was really coming to the study. I repeated again, only 30 meters left. I had already closed the door. From the outside, there were no signs of tampering. I looked around. I found that this study didn't have any place to hide. The space under the desk was empty. 3 walls were covered with floor-to-ceiling bookshelves. Besides that, there was only an antique sofa for reading and resting. As soon as the butler entered, there would be nowhere for them to hide. Moreover, it was completely too late now. The door was closed. They couldn't get out at all. On the other side, Xia Qingshui had finally broken through the network and sent an email to Gao Qin. She deleted all her traces from the computer. Then she closed the laptop. Xia Qingshu stood up. "Let's go." But I was very worried. The butler must be at the door soon. How do we leave? Xia Qingshui looked towards the only wall without bookshelves. There was a thick curtain there. After pulling it open, there was a window, also in a medieval European style. The window was very easy to open. Xia Qingshui leaped up and climbed onto the windowsill. Then she jumped straight down. I was astonished. I also hurried to the window. This was a 3-story drop. Moreover, the floors of the castle weren't like a normal house. It could almost be said that this was as high as 6 stories. How on earth did Xia Qingshui jump down? By the time he leaned out to look down, Xia Qingshui had already landed on both feet. Her body was as agile as a cheetah, and she wasn't injured at all. I was stunned. My first reaction was that I had been deceived. With skills like Xia Qingshui's, she was definitely a top-tier expert, the kind on par with international special forces. But over the past years, she had always acted like a gentle and delicate lady in front of him, looking as if she couldn't carry anything heavy. The image of a weak girl who couldn't even tie up a chicken. I frowned. She's so good at disguising herself. What else is there about her that I don't know? And the next second, Xia Qingshui spread her arms and jumped down to where I was. I heard the sound of the butler unlocking the door. Now I have no other choice. I also quickly climbed out the window. Then I stood on the windowsill and pulled up the curtains, then closed the window again. I looked down. Although my skills aren't bad, but I practiced taekwondo. I've never jumped from such a high place before. How is this any different from jumping off a building? But Xia Qingshu silently mouthed to me, trust me. I didn't hesitate. I leaped and jumped down, but as I was about to hit the ground, fear still rose in my heart. It wasn't the fear of falling to my death, but seeing Xia Qingshu standing firmly there, with her arms outstretched. Her gaze was firm and gentle. She just stood there motionless. I was afraid she would get hurt because of it, but what I worried about didn't happen. I landed firmly on the ground. In that final moment, Xia Qingshui had almost completely braced my body. Due to inertia, the two of us took a few steps back. I reacted. This place is easy to be discovered. We have to leave quickly. Xia Qingshu let go of me. But the next second, she held my face and planted a fierce kiss on my lips. She quickly let go. Let's go. I didn't dwell on this kiss. We were both in the mood of surviving a disaster. In the end, I let Xia Qingshui hold my hand and pull me away from the flower garden. We soon reached a place with people. Shen Li Lai had returned. She was panting, leaning against a coconut tree to catch her breath. The usually gentle and good-tempered Shen Li Lai was now muttering curses. I didn't know what she was cursing about. Liu Ru, on the other hand, was in a rather good mood. Liu Ru was originally strolling on the beach. After seeing Shen Li Lai, she walked over. Xiao Fei Fei was also flying back and forth above their heads. Xia Qingshui turned and said to me, from now on, you are not to leave Shen Li Li's side for a second. I nodded. Then you shouldn't leave my side either. When Xia Qingshui heard this, the corners of her mouth curled up. Silly. Don't worry about me. The two of them walked over there. Shen Li saw Xia Qingshui and was furious. She had run back on foot. She ran 10 kilometers in less than 30 minutes. Don't ask why she could run, almost breaking the world record. It turns out she was walking. When a brown bear suddenly appeared in the forest, it chased her the entire way. Liu Ru saw them, coming from all directions. Where did you all go? I've been looking for you all for a long time, Shen Li asked while panting. Miss Liu, why were you looking for us? Mr. Jiang and young Mr. Shen have gone to the wildlife park. I wanted to ask if you all wanted to go too. Xia Qingxu's eyebrows knitted. Where did you say they went? Liu Ru said. Isn't there a big wildlife park here? Just now. Mr. Shen was upset for some reason. He kept crying. Mr. Jiang wanted to distract him, so he took him to the park to have fun, and told me to wait for everyone here. Let's go too. I heard it's a lot of fun there. Shen Li was traumatized from being chased by the brown bear. I am not going. Now when I see wild animals, my legs won't listen to me. Gu Xian saw the serious expression on Xia Qingxu's face and knew what Xia Qingshui was worried about. She was afraid. Shai Yuan Hua had a scheme in this. Xia Qingshui turned and left immediately. Gu Xian also followed. I'll go with you. Liu Ru naturally followed as well. Shen Li saw me leaving and finally gave in and followed. What Xia Qingshui and I were worried about finally happened. As soon as we reached the gate of the wildlife park, we saw Jiang Jingse running out in a panic. Something happened. My heart tightened. I strode forward and grabbed Jiang Jingse's arm tightly. What happened? The usually cheerful and talkative, the carefree Jiang Jingse now had a pale face. He spoke intermittently. Yi and I were in the tour vehicle, going to the African savannah to see the animals. Yi insisted on driving a tour vehicle himself. It was fine at first, but his vehicle, for some reason, stalled halfway through the drive. Now it's in the middle of the African savannah. The African savannah is a part of the wildlife park. This place has a rainforest, African savannah landscapes, a desert, and an underwater world composed of several sections. The African savannah occupies the largest area, completely simulating a real African savannah. Inside are all wild beasts from their native lands. Jiang Jingse had a worried and fearful expression. I couldn't find anyone. The staff members disappeared somewhere. I also couldn't contact the show's crew. Moreover, after Yi's vehicle stopped, a group of beasts around them went crazy and charged. Even when I drove over to chase them away, they wouldn't leave. It seemed like they were targeting a Yi completely. I really had no other way. I could only drive away. Jiang Jingse was clearly in a panic, having lost all reason. What do we do now? What should we do now? He tried his best to drive and chase them away just now, wanting to scare those beasts away, then let Shen Yi get into his car. But those beasts were not fazed at all. Some circled Shen Yu's car ceaselessly, some chewed on the tires, and some even jumped right onto the roof of Shen Yi's car. He had no way of completely driving them off. What's more deadly is that more and more beasts, as if they had received some kind of order, swarmed towards them. Jiang Jing. He also had to exert a lot of effort to escape their encirclement. He went out to find staff members, but everyone had disappeared. But after getting out, he saw us. They re-entered the park. The park's tour vehicles are small pickup trucks for safety. The tires in the exterior have a layer of steel frame. They drove 3 vehicles. Jiang Jingse and Liu Ru were in one car. Jiang Jingse drove to lead the way. Xia Qingshui drove a car by herself, while Shen Li and I were in another. Shen Li drove. Jiang Jingse still remembered the location. He drove ahead. Our car followed behind. About 10 minutes later, we arrived at the African Savannah tour area. This place everywhere displayed the most primitive face of nature's life. But now, no one was in the mood to enjoy this majestic natural scenery. Jiang Jingse finally saw an off-road pickup truck not far away. Why is there? Jiang Jingse called out. As the car got closer, they finally saw Shen Yi's situation clearly. Shen Yi's car was surrounded by a pride of lions. 6 or 7 lions were surrounding the vehicle. The iron mesh on the outside of the car had been bitten to shreds. 2 lions were constantly jumping on the roof, ceaselessly chewing on the protective mesh on the roof. The key thing is that there's a sunroof on the roof, meaning that as long as these lions bite through the protective mesh on the roof, the person inside will have no chance of survival. There was also a lion lying on the hood of the car, its large paws relentlessly hitting the front glass. At this moment, the thick protective glass, with each hit from the lion, had started to show cracks. From inside came Shen Yi's heart-wrenching screams. "Help me!" Shen Yi was terrified to the extreme. 6 or 7 lions surrounded his car, frantically tearing at the protective mesh. The protective mesh on the roof had been torn open. A sharp claw reached straight in. Shen Yi cowered under the driver's seat, screaming with his head in his hands. Jiang Jingse saw this scene, and his limbs involuntarily went weak. And behind him, an off-road pickup truck sped past, charging straight ahead. It was Yaqing Xu's car. Xiaqing Shui drove straight into the middle of the lion pride, immediately knocking an adult male lion to the ground, followed by another powerful charge, ramming straight into Shen Yi's car. Shen Yi's car was knocked back 3 or 4 meters. The pride of lions was also immediately scattered. Shen Yi, who had already given up hope, was hiding under the driver's seat, holding his head, his whole body trembling. This despair reminded him of when he was 12, when he was locked in the basement by Shai Yuanhua and almost died. The image of Shai Qingshu appeared in his mind. The last time he was on the brink of death, Xia Qingsu descended like a miracle from heaven. How he wished fourth aunt could appear again now. The car was hit. He instinctively knew someone had come. A glimmer of hope arose in Shen Yi's heart. He hurriedly stood up and looked out through the glass. Sure enough, he saw not far away Xia Qingsui driving an off-road pickup truck. The sunlight just happened to shine down on her face from the roof. Her gaze was resolute, as if she had descended from the heavens. Shen Yi's eyes were filled with tears. He muttered to himself, "Fourth aunt, you really came." After the pride of lions was scattered, they did not leave. Instead, they regrouped, and all the lions began to fiercely attack Xia Qingsu's car. They charged at Xia Qingsu's car together, frantically tearing at the protective mesh. A large paw smashed the car window with one swipe. They attacked Xia Qingsui as if they'd gone mad. Xia Qingsui turned the car to lure all the lions away. She wanted to use speed to ram and crush the lions, but African lions have large bodies and incredible strength. Their running speed on the savannah was no less than an off-road vehicle. The fatal thing was, the car's windshield was already broken, and at this moment, another male lion charged straight from the opposite direction. Shen Yi let out a heart-wrenching scream. He just wanted to die. Jiang Jingse and Liu Ru were also stunned by the sight. Their car wasn't far from Shai Qing Xu's. Even if they floored the gas pedal, wanting to go help, it was already too late. That lion, with a body as large as a mountain, had leaped into the air, its whole body charging towards Xia Qingsui. Its 2 front paws were extended, revealing claws as sharp as steel knives. Its angry roar echoed across the savannah. Its fangs seemed to still be stained with the blood and flesh of its previous prey. Sinister and terrifying. A gunshot, bang, echoed through the sky, bang, followed by 5 consecutive shots. With each decisive gunshot, a large body fell to the ground. The lion that was charging towards Xia Qingsui just now was also hit in the forehead by a bullet. Like a slab of meat, it rolled directly and fell onto Shai Qing Xu's car. The entire car was almost crushed out of shape. In just over 10 seconds, the lions that were previously surrounding, chasing and tearing, went crazy, were now all on the ground. Almost all of them were hit by a single shot to the eye or brain. Some were not dead yet, but had lost their ability to attack, lying on the ground, gasping for breath. This scene stunned everyone. Jiang Jingse opened his mouth wide and asked Liu Ru next to him, "Was that she and who fired?" Liu Ru also had a shocked expression. She nodded vigorously. "Mr. Gu is really amazing." Shen Yi's eyes were wide with shock. He seemed unable to react. And now Shen Li Lai looked at me. One hand on the car door, my whole body outside the door, holding a golden gun, her face full of admiration. Just now, brother Shi and kept telling her to drive a little closer, then suddenly pulled out a gun, opened the car door. The car was constantly moving at high speed, and the lions on the other side were not standing still. But brother Shi and fired several consecutive shots, and every shot hit its mark. Moreover, the decisive and majestic shooting posture of brother Xian. Shen Li felt that his whole body seemed to be emitting a golden light. He was so handsome it was to die for. The danger was averted. Everyone got out of their cars. Shen Yi also reacted. He quickly got out of the car and ran straight towards Xia Qingsu's car. He never expected fourth aunt to come looking for him, let alone that she would risk her life and desperately save him. If it had been a second later, those lions might have jumped in through the sunroof and torn him to pieces. Fourth aunt. She still cared about him the most. She would even give up her life for him. He wanted to hug Xia Qingzhui, wanted to tell her loudly how much he missed her, how scared he was. On the other side, Tu Xian and Shen Li Lai also got out of the car. Xia Qing got out too. She was also terrified, although when that lion charged just now, Xia Qing was prepared to ram it again, to risk it all, but her chances of winning were not high. After all, it was a fierce and powerful king of the jungle. Gu Shi, and knowing how to shoot was something she never expected, and moreover, his marksmanship was so accurate. Xia Qing was also a little scared at this moment. She saw Gu Shi walking over and slowly opened her arms. Shen Yi saw Jie Qingjue open her arms and was a little stunned. Immediately after, his heart surged. On the brink of life and death, did fourth aunt finally reveal her true feelings? Shen Yi didn't think much. He quickened his pace and ran towards Xie Qing. When he was just a few meters from Xia Qing, he also opened his arms. He was ready to receive this warm hug. The next second, Xia Qing also ran forward. Shen Yi was extremely excited. Fourth aunt, but Xia Qing ran right past him, without even glancing at him, then ran straight to Gu Xian and threw herself into Gu Xian's arms. She hugged so tightly, so forcefully, that I stumbled back a few steps. I was stunned for a moment. I couldn't seem to react at all. But Xia Qing's kiss was hurried, forceful, and fierce, like a release after surviving a disaster, and like a flood of emotions that could no longer be contained. Stunned for a moment, my mind went blank. Soon, my nose and mouth were filled with a familiar scent, and my consciousness gradually returned. But even though I knew what the situation was, this time I didn't push Xia Qing away. Instead, I subconsciously wrapped my arms around her waist. Everyone who saw this was stunned. Jiang Jingse was surprised for a moment, then immediately switched to a gossipy expression, even wanting to get closer for a better look. But Liu Ru pulled him back. Mr. Jiang, don't go over there and cause trouble. Shen Li's face was also full of shock, but after the shock came heartbreak. She didn't want to see this scene anymore, and directly turned her back. As for Shen Ye, when he saw this scene, he was also completely heartbroken. Just now, he had thought that the hug, fourth aunt's open arms were meant to welcome him. It was him deceiving himself. It was him overestimating himself. It turned out that from the very beginning, the person fourth aunt liked, the person she wanted to be closest to in her desperation, was still Gu Xian. Shen Yi couldn't describe what he was feeling. It was as if the dream he had woven was cruelly pierced, like a sincere heart, held gently in his palm, being trampled to pieces. He turned and wanted to run, but Jiang Jingse grabbed his arm. Ayai, you can't run around. What if something happens again? Shen Yi was held back by Jiang Jingse. He didn't even have the right to escape this scene. I don't know how much time passed. I shot Xia Qing's a sharp glare. Xia Qing took my hand again. Let's go back. I forcefully shook her hand off and went straight to a car. My heart was a bit of a mess. One was the fear after surviving the ordeal. Two was knowing that we were live streaming just now. Yet I didn't push Xia Qing away when she kissed me. On the way back, Jiang Jingse pulled Shen Yi into Gu Xian's car. Jiang Jingse was a bit gossipy, but he didn't dare to ask anything. After all, everyone knew about Shen Yi and Xia Qing's relationship. But just now, the person Xia Qing kissed in front of everyone was me, not Shen Yi. This really made people's minds wander. So what exactly is the relationship between these three people? Shen Yi sat in the car in silence the whole time. To break the silence in the car, Jiang Jingse racked his brain for a topic. Anne, where did you get that gun? I answered calmly. I just grabbed it from the warehouse. This wildlife park also provides hunting services. I am not making this up. The butler mentioned it before during the introduction. So both Jiang Jingse and Shen Yi didn't doubt the origin of my gun. Jiang Jingse looked at me with an admiring expression. Gu Xian, how is your marksmanship so good? Did you study it professionally? I casually gave a perfunctory answer. I occasionally play with airsoft guns. I am usually not this accurate. Today, it was because I was too stressed. The situation forced my hand. Gu Shi, and couldn't say that his damn old master was originally an assassin with godlike marksmanship. Jiang Jingse nodded, then said that it was lucky to have him today. Otherwise, both the Yi and Miss Saya would have been in danger. After saying that, Jiang Jingse looked towards Shen Yi. To be honest, it was indeed thanks to me today that they escaped death. But Shen Yi acted as if he didn't hear Jiang Jingse's words. He knew he should be grateful to me. I not only saved him, but also saved fourth aunt. But he felt very uncomfortable inside, and he couldn't bring himself to say words of gratitude. Soon, they arrived at the castle villa. Everyone went back to their rooms to rest. When Shen Li wanted to go back to her room, she was pulled back by Xia Qing. From now on, you will stay with Xian. Don't leave his side for a second. Shen Li was already very sad. The scene of her youngest aunt forcefully kissing Gu Xian was still lingering in her mind. Shen Li resisted angrily for the first time. Why do I have to listen to your arrangements? Because your mother wants to kill him. Shen Li frowned. Youngest aunt, why are you slandering my mother? Li. Before, we did it to protect you, to let you live in a positive and bright environment. But now you should recognize reality. Your mother is very cruel. Throughout my growing up process, she has tried to assassinate me a total of 13 times. 2 of those times, she did it herself. Shen Li was stunned into silence. She looked at Xia Qing, hardly daring to believe it. But Xia Qing's expression was calm. She didn't look like she was lying. Youngest aunt, I don't believe it. My mother is not that kind of person. Xia Qingshua's voice was calm. The gun in Xian's hands today was given to him by your mother. She told him to kill Shen Yi, but instead, he saved Shen Yi. Do you think your mother will spare Xian? Ever since we got on the island, things have constantly been happening to the two of them. Do you think it's all a coincidence? Xia Qingshu didn't go back to her room. Instead, she intended to find Xie Yuanhua to negotiate, but she had no idea where Xie Yuanhua was. So she went to find the butler. The butler also said he didn't know. Xia Qingshui took out a box and told the butler, then please give this to my eldest sister. Up until dinner time, Xie Yuanhua still hadn't appeared, because so many things had happened. After dinner, no one was in the mood to go out. Everyone returned to their own rooms. Actually, tomorrow is the last day of filming. I calculated silently in my heart. Once the show's filming ends, will Xia Yuanhua let us go? Just then, the production team sent a notice, saying a typhoon was coming. It would pass over this island in the next few days. So, the filming of the show would have to be postponed for a few days. How could it be such a coincidence? Gu Xian's heart sank. Ever since dinner ended, Shen Lily had stayed in my room. She seemed to have something on her mind. Lying sideways on the sofa with her back to me. I didn't know what she was thinking, until it was time to sleep. I didn't kick her out. After all, I knew that Shen Lily was my protective talisman right now. Outside, gusts of sea wind blew, making the windows rustle. The typhoon was probably really coming. I went out onto my room's balcony, wanting to see the night view before this storm. But suddenly, a black figure jumped down from above, holding a piece of ether-soaked gauze, and covered my mouth. I struggled a few times, and then fainted. Shen Lily seemed to hear some noise, but when she turned around, she didn't see anything. Shen Lily stood up and called out, "Brother Xian, where are you?" A bad premonition rose in Shen Lily's heart. She searched every corner of the room, but couldn't find any sign of me. The fear in her heart grew larger. She was very sure I hadn't gone out. 3 minutes ago, Gu Xian was still in the room. How could he suddenly vanish without a trace? Over and over again, her mind replayed the words that Xia Qingshui had said. For some reason, she started to have some doubts. After Shen Lily was certain I wasn't in the room, she rushed out to find Xia Qingshui. But Xia Qingshu wasn't in her room either. At this moment, Xia Qingshu was on a rooftop terrace. She looked into the distance, then raised her hand to look at her watch. Her heart felt as heavy as a stone. The distant sea was as black as thick ink, seemingly concealing countless sins and dangers. My foolish little sister, what are you waiting for? Xia Yuanhua's voice came from behind. Xia Qingshui wasn't surprised. She calmly turned around and called out, "Eldest sister, you finally agreed to see me." Xia Yuanhua smiled and took a few steps forward, holding a brocade box in her hand. "You gave this to me. How could I not come?" Xia Yuanhua opened the brocade box in her hand. Inside was a human tooth. It's Wei Tingfang's. When Gu Xian beat up Wei Tingfang before, he broke one of his molars. Where is he now? Xia Yuanhua asked nonchalantly. Xia Qingshui observed Xia Yuanhua's expression. She was using Wei Tingfang as a bargaining chip, but Xia Qingshui wasn't sure if Xia Yuanhua would take the bait. Xia Qingshui said, "He's in a very safe place right now, but it's a place you'll never find. So you deliberately brought this to me. What's your intention?" "Eldest sister, I am using Wei Tingfang to trade with you." Xia Yuanhua was also very direct. "All right then, but are you trading for Shen Yi or Gu Xian?" Xia Qingshui frowned and said, "I want both." Xia Yuanhua adjusted the coat on her shoulders. "I never do losing business. 1 for 1 is fair." Xia Qingshui's face completely darkened. Xia Yuanhua turned her head to look at her. "I'll give you 1 minute to think." Xia Qingshui subconsciously looked up. Xia Yuanhua suddenly laughed. "Stop looking. Gao Qin isn't coming. She won't find grandmother either. You have no saviors. Right now, you are isolated. Just like this lonely island in the middle of the sea, you can only beg me." Xia Qingshui didn't hesitate. "I am begging you, sister, let them go. Both of them are innocent. If there's anything, just come after me." Xia Yuanhua laughed. Her laughter in the silent night seemed incredibly eerie. "As I see it, they are a part of you. One is the man you've protected since he was young. Plus, you'll need the help of the power behind him in the future. The other is the lover you hide in your heart. I really want to know, when you can only choose one, who will you choose?" Xia Qingshui's fingers clenched tightly. The veins on her arms bulged. I am not choosing." Xia Yuanhua's voice suddenly turned cold. "You don't choose, then they both have to die." Xia Yuanhua took out a small remote control. With just one press, a holographic projection appeared in the air, and on the screen was a private yacht. The camera gradually zoomed in. On the deck of the yacht lay 2 figures. It was Gu Xian and Shen Yi. Xia Qingshui's heart skipped a beat. She took a few steps forward, and finally got a clear view of them. They were still wearing their daytime clothes. The 2 of them lay on the deck, motionless with their eyes closed, looking like 2 corpses. Xia Qingshui's eyes were bloodshot, like a lioness about to go berserk. "What have you done to them?" Taking all precautions was useless. Even letting Shen Lily watch over Gu Xian, without leaving his side for a moment. In the end, Xia Yuanhua still found an opening. Now both Shen Yi and Gu Xian were in Xia Yuanhua's hands, like fish on a chopping block, at her mercy. But rest assured, they're not dead. Xia Yuanhua's gaze also fell upon the yacht. The yacht swayed on the sea surface, bobbing up and down, surrounded by the cold, vast sea, which could swallow this small yacht at any moment. Shi Yunhua said, "You must make your choice quickly. The typhoon will arrive tonight. If you hesitate, by the time you make a decision, I am not sure I can bring them back safely." Shi Qingshu looked at the erratically bobbing yacht. It was clearly a sign of an impending storm. Xia Qingshu's fair and beautiful face was partially hidden in the shadows, perhaps due to anger. Her face gradually flushed. Looking somewhat enchanting, she tried to suppress her emotions. "Eldest sister, why are you treating me like this? It's been 28 years. You've never stopped tormenting me. Every minute, every second, you want me dead. What mistake did I even make for you to hate me so much?" Xia Yuanhua's smile also slowly faded from her face. Her pupils grew darker. She suddenly thought of that stormy, rainy night. It seemed just as stifling as this one. They forced her to strip naked and perform "Farewell, My Concubine." They tormented her body again and again, tearing her self-respect and soul to pieces. She was only 19 years old that year. Xia Yuanhua closed her eyes. When she opened them again, her eyes had become crazed. "Why do I hate you? Because the filthiest blood in the world flows through you. You are the child of Satan. Your birth itself is a great sin. You are the incarnation of the devil, the seed of evil. Someone like you. How can I let you be at peace, happily enjoying the sunshine? The good things in this world have nothing to do with you, because you are not worthy. As long as I am alive, you must suffer. I am your hell." Xia Qingshui screamed. "Do you think I wanted to come into this world? Did I have a choice?" The rims of Xia Qingshu's eyes were red. Her voice was choked and heavy. "From the moment I was born, you condemned me. But could I decide my own birth? Could I choose my own family? Could I choose my own mother? If you hated me so much, then you shouldn't have in the first place." With a crash, thunder rumbled in the sky. And it was this dull sound that suddenly sobered Xia Qingshui up. Some words were destined to never be spoken in this lifetime. Her tone suddenly became calm. "You shouldn't have let mother give birth to me in the first place. You wanted to monopolize the Xi family's assets. Then you should have tried your best to stop it, instead of waiting until after I was born, to bully a defenseless child everywhere." Just now, when Xia Qingshui said those words, Xia Yuanhua seemed a bit stunned as well. Her agitated appearance was as if she knew something. But how could that be possible? She could never know, and she wouldn't let her know either. They were destined for their whole lives to be each other's nightmare in shackles. Xia Yuanhua's face was now frighteningly calm. "1 minute is up. Have you finished thinking?" And on the other side, Shen Yi and I were on the deck, and we woke up at the same time. Seeing the surrounding situation, both of us were dazed. I reacted very quickly, getting up and running to the edge of the deck to check. I found that this was a yacht, and at this moment, the yacht was in the middle of the ocean, surrounded by rising waves and turbulent undercurrents. It was pitch black all around. Mixed with the howling of the sea wind, the yacht was rocking violently. They could barely stand steady. Shen Yi also tried to hold onto the railing to stand up. "Where's this?" Shen Yi was terrified. I walked over and said in a low voice, "We've been thrown into the sea by Xia Yuanhua. I remember now. I was knocked out on the balcony and taken away. Shen Yi must have been the same. When we woke up, we were here. The typhoon is coming." Xia Yuanhua threw the two of them into the sea. "Doesn't that mean she wants the two of them to die here?" The wind grew stronger. A wave crashed over, hitting them directly. Both of their clothes were soaked. A chill immediately hit them. Gu Xian quickly spoke up. "Into the cabin." The two of them went into the cabin. The facilities inside were extremely old. Gu Xian rushed into the control room and found that the control panel was broken. In other words, this yacht had long been abandoned. Moreover, looking at the old facilities on it, when the typhoon arrives later, I am afraid it will fall apart in an instant. Shen Yi also seemed to understand the current situation. He had been on the island for less than 24 hours and had already experienced 3 death trips. Taya Yuanhua really didn't want to spare him. Shen Yi's voice trembled slightly. "What do we do? What do we do now?" I checked all around and couldn't find anything useful, not even a lifebuoy. He sat down, a little dejected. I also didn't know what to do. What on earth does Xia Yuanhua want to do? I didn't quite understand. If she wanted to kill the two of them, why not kill them directly? Why throw the two of them into the sea? Just then, a holographic projection suddenly appeared in front of them. Shen Yi was extremely agitated. "It's fourth aunt! Fourth aunt! Help! Help!" Shen Yi shouted towards the projection. Unexpectedly, Xia Qingshui could hear their cries. On her screen as well appeared the image of me and Shen Yi, and this was the moment when Xia Yuanhua was forcing Xia Qingshui to make a decision. In other words, Xia Yuanhua wasn't just forcing her to make a decision. She also let Shen Yi and me witness it with our own eyes. How cruel. Xia Qingshui looked at the image inside and also took a few forceful steps forward. Her fingers clenched tightly. Her shoulders even trembled slightly. But Xia Yuanhua's tone was very leisurely. "You only have one bargaining chip in your hand. Who do you want to trade it for? You better decide. Quickly. You don't have much time left. You choose one person, and I'll immediately have someone pick them up." Xia Qingshui asked through gritted teeth. "What about the other one? The typhoon is coming, and it will rage for 3 days. That place will become the eye of the storm. I wonder if anyone can stay in an environment as harsh as that and survive for 3 days. Forget 3 days. When the typhoon really hits, they might not even last 3 minutes. On the other side, Shen Yi and I also heard their conversation. They suddenly understood the current situation. Xie Yuanhua was forcing Xie Qingshui to choose between the two of them again. Only one of them could be saved. Shen Yi was a bit stunned. Xie Yuanhua was truly perverted to the extreme, but looking at Xie Qingzu's appearance right now, a part of him wanted to know the answer. Who would fourth aunt choose? Gu Shen was the person fourth aunt loved in Rongcheng. They had known each other for no more than 3 years, but he and fourth aunt had known each other for 8 years. In these 8 years, they had relied on each other to live. Fourth aunt wouldn't abandon him. Shen Yi didn't dare to breathe a sigh to his inner self. Inside, since who knows when, a patch of darkness had appeared. He even felt that this choice was very good. If fourth aunt chose him, then from now on, there would be no more obstacles between him and fourth aunt. If fourth aunt chose Gu Xian, that was fine too. After all, without fourth aunt, he didn't want to live anymore. It would be better to die here and become a lifelong scar in her heart. His eyes stared unblinkingly at Xie Qingshu on the screen. I started shouting at the screen again. Xie Qingshui, don't choose. Don't choose anyone. I knew this was the hardest choice in the world. Xie Qingshui had said that she didn't have the right to decide other people's life and death, but when Xie Yuanhua forced her to have no choice but to do so, how much pain would she be in? I don't kill others, but someone else dies because of me. No matter who she ultimately chose, this choice would become an indelible nightmare for the rest of her life. This was Xie Yuanhua's purpose. Xie Yuanhua just wanted her to suffer, wanted to drive her completely mad, wanted to destroy her will and her soul, to destroy this person from the inside out. I couldn't let Xia Qingshui make the choice. Otherwise, she would really break down. Xie Qingzu's eyes were always on me. Fate had once again pushed her to the forefront of the storm. She couldn't just watch me die while being helpless herself. She also couldn't abandon Shen Yi. Abandoning Shen Yi would mean betraying her own helpless childhood self. I rushed out of the cabin and stood on the deck. Shen Yi also followed me out. The hull of the ship rocked more and more violently. I vaguely saw a twinkling light in the distance. I had made a decision. Xie Qingshui. I shouted Xie Qingshu's name loudly. Then I jumped from the boat into the sea. But Xie Qingshui didn't see the scene. The image of the sea displayed on Xie Qingzu's side was suddenly cut off. The last scene Xie Qingshui saw was me, collapsed on the railing, shouting her name loudly, hoarse-voiced. Every word conveyed endless despair and pain. Shen Yi was stunned. He didn't expect me to jump. He rushed to the deck and craned his neck to look down. But besides a patch of darkness, he saw nothing else. His heart was about to jump out of his chest. Did Gu Xian just die like that? He fiercely raised his head to look at the projection screen. Xie Qingshui's side seemed to have no reaction at all. Xie Yuanhua was still urging Xie Qingshui to make a choice. Little sister, don't test my patience anymore. Who do you want to trade the card in your hand for? Xie Qingshui no longer hesitated. Her answer was very decisive. Trade for Gu Xian. After Shen Yi heard that, his whole body went rigid. His body went cold. His entire being felt as if it had sunk into the deep sea. The cold sea water was like sharp knives, cutting through him slice by slice. His flesh peeled away. He never expected that in the end, Xia Qingshui would really choose Gu Shan. Actually, he had thought of it. He just didn't want to admit it. Fourth aunt could really disregard his life in the end. It turned out that all these years, her protection of him, her pity for him, were all fake. It wasn't even worth as much as a temporary boyfriend, whom she met in a small place. Shen Yi suddenly curled his lips and let out a self-deprecating laugh. It's just a pity that Gu Xian already jumped into the sea. The image on fourth aunt's side was cut off. She didn't see it. Perhaps Xie Yuanhao deliberately didn't let her see it, just to make her recognize reality. Shen Yi's laughter grew louder. He looked up at the blue sky and laughed until tears streamed down his face. Fourth aunt, why did you lie to me? Why could you lie to me for a while, but not for a lifetime? If you were going to choose to abandon me in the end, then I would rather that when I was 12 years old, you had never appeared in my life. From the first time I saw you, you became the most important person in my life. But in the end, it was just a dream. A grand dream. Shen Yi didn't care about anything anymore. He jumped towards the railing, and on the other side, in the holographic projection screen. After Xie Qingshu finished speaking, she was silent for 2 seconds, then spoke again. 15% of the Xia Group's shares, all the family shares in my possession, in exchange for Shen Yi's life. Xie Yuanhua was a little surprised. She didn't expect she would go this far for Shen Yi. The family shares they had fought over for so many years. She considered them more important than anything. This was also her weapon and her trump card. Giving the shares to her was equivalent to laying down her weapons and surrendering. In the future, it would be hard for her to have any cards left to fight against her. To think she was willing to give it up for Shen Yi. Xie Yuanhua said with a smile, I could have originally agreed, but I forgot to tell you something. Just a few minutes ago, both of them jumped into the sea. The hologram lit up again, but what could be seen was in the darkness, a lone yacht floating on the sea, like a ghost ship. Xia Qingshu immediately froze. Her blood seemed to run cold. Xie Yuanhua, you killed them. Xia Yuanhua looked completely unconcerned, as if 2 human lives were not even worth mentioning in her eyes. A helicopter suddenly appeared on the screen. Xie Yuanhua said, but don't worry, the rescue team is nearby. Since you've shown such sincerity, I can't just completely disregard it. Xia Qing Xu's eyes were glued to the helicopter. The searchlight from the helicopter swept across the sea, but in the vast expanse of the sea, there was no sign of the two men. It was unknown how much time had passed. Maybe just a minute, maybe an hour had passed. The person on the helicopter began to report. Figure spotted. Descending. Xia Qing Xu's fingers tightened. Her nerves were about to snap. Her eyes stared intently at the holographic screen. A few minutes later, a slender figure was finally secured by the rescue rope. The helicopter slowly ascended. That person's face also appeared on the screen. It was Shen Ye. Shen Ye was weak and had no strength left, but he was clearly still alive. His face was filled with despair, crying uncontrollably. Xia Qingsu's heart tightened even more. It felt like a knife had been stabbed into her chest. It didn't bleed, but it couldn't be pulled out either. Only the agony of being sliced by 1,000 knives. Is a Cheyenne. Xian. Don't die. Please don't die. Xia Qingxue mumbled something under her breath. Even she didn't know what she was saying. And at this moment, a helicopter flew in from the distance, landing right on the rooftop. The helicopter door opened. The old madam, supported by Gao Qin, stepped out from inside. The old madam's eyes were full of worry. She looked a bit tired, but she still forced herself to stand tall and walked to Xia Qing Xu's side. Shue, don't be afraid. Mother is here. But Xia Qingxue seemed to completely not hear the old madam's words. Her eyes were vacant, staring at the screen, still unconsciously calling Gu Xian's name. The next second, she seemed to go mad. She turned and ran straight onto the helicopter they had just arrived in. The strong wind from the rotors made the surrounding coconut trees rustle violently. The helicopter quickly took off, flying straight towards the sea, and quickly disappeared into the darkness. Everyone hadn't even had time to react. Gao Qin had a grave expression. We were still too late. The old madam had already guessed what happened. It must be that Xia Yuanhua had come up with some cruel way to torture her. Seeing her just now, constantly calling Gu Xian's name, something must have happened to that boy. The old madam stepped forward and slapped Xia Yuanhua, her voice cold and powerful. You truly treat human life like dirt. Xia Yuanhua didn't dodge it. She sneered, laughing a little crazily. Mother, wasn't I also treated by others like dirt? I was worse than dirt. This world owes me. How I was tortured back then. The pain that I had to endure. I must return it all to her. The old madam thought of her daughter's past and felt extremely heartbroken. But thinking of the torment Xia Qingxue had endured for so many years, she was also heartbroken. Sober up. Shue is not one of them. Those people are all dead. Shue is your biological sister. Xia Yuanhua seemed to know what the old madam was about to say. She shouted to stop her. No. Xia Yuanhua kept backing away, with a look of horror in her eyes. No, she's not. I hate her. She's a demon. I want her to die. I want her to go to hell. I want all of them to go to hell. Xia Yuanhua seemed to have thought of something and became crazed, then staggered off the rooftop. The old madam turned and instructed Gao Qin. Go find Shue quickly. Don't let anything happen to her. Go now. After everyone had left the rooftop, the place immediately became extremely quiet. But at this moment, behind the flower trellis on the rooftop, a figure was curled up, their eyes now filled with terror, their body trembling uncontrollably. Shen Li slowly looked up and saw a bright moon. But tonight's moon seemed to have fangs, relentlessly tearing apart and devouring her 21 years of peace. Shen Li couldn't believe it. It turned out that everything her youngest aunt said before was true. It was the first time she saw such a crazed side of her mother. Her eyes were bloodshot. Her expression was demonic, like an asura that had just crawled up from the underworld, her hands stained with fresh blood. She was scared out of her wits. The words Xia Yuanhua said, that senseless cruelty, that arrogance of treating human lives like ants. Shen Li suddenly felt that was not the mother, she knew it all. It was as if someone had thrown a bomb into Shen Li's world. In an instant, her world was full of wounds, completely unrecognizable. She didn't know how long she had been on the rooftop, until she saw a helicopter flying towards the rooftop. She slowly came back to her senses. She quickly stood up. Youngest aunt. She thought Xia Qingxue had returned. She also suddenly thought about me jumping into the sea. In an instant, the raging torrent in her heart immediately froze over. Nothing else mattered now. What mattered was him. Shen Li ran like mad towards the helicopter. To her disappointment, the person who stepped out of the helicopter was not Xia Qingxue, but Gao Qin. Shen Li hurriedly grabbed Gao Qin's hand. Secretary Gao, where is youngest aunt? Have you found him yet? He's still alive, right? Gao Qin's expression was also extremely grave. We couldn't find anyone. The storm has arrived. I had no choice but to return. Shen Li took a few steps back, almost collapsing to the ground. Suddenly, she turned and ran frantically outside. The first person Shen Li looked for was Xi Ming. Only then did Xi Ming find out that both I and Xia Qingxue were missing, and that Shen Yi had fallen into the sea. But luckily, he was rescued. On the first day of filming, there were 8 guests. But on the last day of filming, there were only 4 left. And now 2 of them were missing. Their fate unknown. Xi Ming was also stunned. He couldn't bear this responsibility. Because Jin Hua Chao Mei was the main sponsor and producer of this variety show, So for the past few days, the livestream room was almost completely controlled by Xia Yuanhua's people. Whatever she wanted the audience to see, they saw. Originally, he had no objections, but now human lives were at stake. He had to take back control of the live stream room. The production team already had a professional rescue team precisely for situations where guests might face life-threatening extreme situations. Everyone on the rescue team was dispatched, but they all returned not long after. The storm had arrived. The waves were several meters high. Whether it was rescue by helicopter or speedboat, there was absolutely no way to stay on the sea for too long. The old madam was also worried sick. The old master in the capital also received the news. A rescue team of thousands set out overnight, but they were all held back by the storm, completely unable to reach Angel Island. Night fell, and the storm raged fiercely, leaving devastation in its wake as if it were the end of the world. Shen Lai Lai looked at the howling wind outside, her whole body trembling. Her eyes were full of bloodshot veins. Her fingers clenched tightly, and she finally punched the glass door. Fresh blood trickled down, but she felt no pain. It seemed only physical pain could ease the ache in her heart a little. The door to the room opened. Shen Li turned around. Xia Yuanhua was standing at the door, holding a small, exquisite porcelain tureen. You don't seem to have eaten anything tonight. I had someone stew the sea urchin bird's nest congee that you like. Xia Yuanhua placed the porcelain tureen on the small table in the room, but Shen Li didn't move an inch, staring at her. Xia Yuanhua smiled at her. What are you looking at? My daughter? Shen Li suddenly asked. Mother, why must you kill youngest aunt? Xia Yuanhua was sitting on the sofa, about to open the lid of the tureen when she heard this. Her hand recoiled as if burned. She looked up, but her face still wore a gentle smile. Lilai, what are you talking about? Shen Li said. I heard everything. You want to kill youngest aunt. You said she was a demon, a child of Satan. You want to kill her. You want her to go to hell. Xia Yuanhua's face quickly turned cold. Shen Li's voice was as calm as a machine. You not only want to kill youngest aunt, you also used Gu Xian and Shen Yi to threaten her. You forced her to decide their life and death. You drove her mad. Why? Why all of this? She has the same mother and father as you. In fact, among all the siblings, she's the one who resembles you the most. Why are you so cruel? You're not just killing youngest aunt, you also forced Gu Xian and Shen Yi to jump into the sea. He's missing now. His fate unknown, but you don't feel guilty at all. Grandmother was right. You treat human life like dirt. You are a demon who kills without batting an eye. Shen Lai. Lie. Shut up. Anger was clearly visible on Xia Yuanhua's face, but very quickly, Xia Yuanhua noticed that Shen Li's hand was covered in blood. Fresh blood dripped down, soaking into the carpet, without a sound. Xia Yuanhua frowned and came closer, taking Shen Li's hand. What happened to your hand? Shen Li immediately pulled her hand away. You don't need to care about me. Right now, I have no idea when you are being real, and when you are fake, you're like a demon wearing a human skin mask. Shen Li. How can you talk to me like that? Xia Yuanhua's aura was very powerful. That's right. I do want to kill your youngest aunt, but anyone else has the right to call me cruel-hearted, but not you. Shen Li. Everything I do is to pave the way for you. Shen Li suddenly became furious. Enough. Don't use me as your shield. I don't need you to pave the way for me. I never coveted the Xia family's inheritance in the first place. If, for the sake of those cold assets, I would lose my humanity, and even murder my own family, then what do I need these things for? Shen Li said through gritted teeth. Mother. I will absolutely not fight with youngest aunt for the Xia family's fortune. I will tell grandfather that I renounce my right to all inheritance. I don't want a single penny. The same goes for the Shen family's side. I don't want anything. Slap. A resounding slap landed on Shen Li's cheek. Shen Li, you are my Xia Yuan Hua's daughter. How could you say such things? Xia Yuanhua was truly enraged. Her chest heaved violently, her eyes filled with coldness. Shen Li held half of her face and sneered out loud. Mother, I will absolutely not be like you, having my humanity clouded by money and power. The things you want, I don't need. If you want them, then take them all with you to your coffin. After saying that, Shen Li ran out of the room. Xia Yuanhua was so angry she trembled, but she suddenly thought of something and hurriedly chased after her. But Shen Li's figure had already disappeared down the hallway. Shen Li ran out of the castle villa. The strong wind was raging outside, but she ran towards the sea. There was a yacht by the shore. As she was about to board it, she was caught by 4 bodyguards in black. Shen Li fought them, but how could she be a match for these people? She was quickly subdued and dragged back. Let me go. I want to find brother Xian. I want to find youngest aunt. But in the end, Shen Li was still dragged back and locked in her room by Xia Yuanhua. This storm raged for 3 days and 3 nights. Almost everyone on the island couldn't sleep. Shen Li barely ate or drank in her room. The old madam's eyes were swollen from crying. Everyone was restless with worry. Jiang Jingse and Liu Ru didn't know what had happened. They only knew that Xia Qing Sui and Gu Xian had suddenly gone missing 3 days ago. And that something had also happened to Shen Yi. He had a high fever for days that wouldn't break, and was constantly in a coma. The official story was that they went fishing at sea and ran into a storm. but after experiencing the incident on the African savannah, they also felt that things weren't that simple. Besides, they all knew a storm was coming. How could they go fishing at sea at a time like this? Something must have happened. After the storm, the livestream room opened again, and this time, the production team announced some bad news, which was the disappearance of Go Xian and Shai Qing-shui. But the reason given to the public was the same as what Zhang Jing-se and the others knew, that they went fishing at sea. Is the production team crazy? So many things have happened in just a few short days. Starting from Wai Ting Fang's withdrawal, the guests have been having one accident after another. Gu Shi and An Shen Yi's horses went crazy. Shen Yi was surrounded by a pride of lions. Miss Saya almost lost her life in the lions' mouths. And now brother An and Miss Saya are missing. Could all of this be a coincidence? People who don't know would think this show is a real-life version of a survival game. Our brother An and Miss Shai is still alive. So brother An jumped into the sea and Miss Ya went missing trying to save him. Gu Shi An is a real troublemaker, harming others and himself. It's best if he's dead. Smile like a flower. Watch your mouth and show some decency. Be careful or you'll get sores in your throat and boils on your butt. The live stream room was also restless with worry. Everyone started condemning the production team and the director. The disappearance of Gu Xian and Xie Qing-shui also immediately became a top trending topic on major media outlets. While it was chaotic, outside, I was sitting on a beach, starting a bonfire, eating freshly roasted crab and fresh sea bream sashimi. That day, I didn't recklessly jump into the sea, but I saw a clear light not far away, like a yacht. I wanted to take a chance. After jumping into the water, I headed towards the yacht and swam with all my might. But not long after I jumped, the storm arrived. I was tossed about in the vast sea. No matter how I swam, I couldn't get closer to that light. But because the yacht's hull had broken apart earlier, I was lucky enough to grab a floating plank. As I was swept away by the sea, I really thought I was going to die, but I held on tightly to that floating plank. After that was a long drift in the wind and rain, but I didn't know how much time had passed. In the middle of it, I even had a dream. I vaguely saw my master, standing on the deck of a large ship. Then I passed out. When I woke up, I was on the sandy beach of this small island. I struggled to get up, and found that this was a place with blue seas and silver sand. Moreover, the sea here was calm. It wasn't within the storm's rampage. I just didn't know how long I had been drifting. Nor did I know where on earth this was, but I could be sure that this was a small island. When I was looking for food on the island, I also found some traces of human exploration, and some tools left behind, including a large, rusted machete. I spent a day and a night building a small bamboo house for myself. I had no idea where I was, so I built a large bonfire on the sand, and wrote a huge SOS on the sand. But I didn't see any passing ships or planes. Ever since I was stranded on this deserted island, my mind has been filled with Xie Qing-shui. How would she react after learning I jumped into the sea? What is her situation now? Has Xie Yuanhua stopped? Is she frantically looking for me right now? Searching to the point of collapse, thinking like this, my heart also felt very heavy. I decided not to think about it, and went to the beach to catch a few more crabs, but today I came up empty-handed. I only managed to find 2 crabs here and there. Just as I was disappointed and about to head back, I suddenly saw someone lying on the beach not far away. The person was lying face down on the ground. I didn't know if they were alive or dead. I hurriedly ran like mad towards them, but the closer I got, the slower my running speed became, because that person's figure looked incredibly familiar. My heart started to beat wildly. I prayed silently, hoping that it wasn't Shai Qing-shui. This figure looked too much like Xie Qing-shui. I would rather it be me, hallucinating because I missed her too much, than meet her under these circumstances, because she had been swallowed by the sea. A person was washed ashore by the waves. Out of 10, 8 or 9 would already be dead. I got closer and closer. When I was only about 10 meters away, my footsteps suddenly stopped. I was almost certain that the person lying face down on the sand, with their lower body still submerged in the seawater, was Xie Qing-shui. I didn't understand. Why was Xie Qing-shui here? Did she also fall into the sea? Why? Moreover, there was something else I didn't know. Whether she was still alive or not. I suddenly didn't dare to go any closer, but I only hesitated for a few seconds. Then I ran frantically towards her. I turned Xie Qing-zhu over. Xie Qing. Xu's face was deathly pale. Her whole body was ice cold. I felt as if my entire body had been pushed into an abyss. I instinctively placed my finger under Xie Qing Xu's nose. I couldn't feel any breath. At that moment, I felt like after being pushed into an abyss, someone had thrown a huge rock down on me. In that instant, I was utterly bewildered. I forcefully slapped Xie Qing Xu's face. Xie Qing-shui, wake up. I suddenly remembered something, and started giving Xie Qing-shui CPR. I did chest compressions again and again. I pinched her nose, and gave her mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. In my heart, I knew very well that Xie Qing Xu's chances of survival were very slim, because I didn't know when Xie Qing-shui had stopped breathing. If she had suffocated for more than 10 minutes, it would be almost impossible for her to wake up. Wake up. Xie Qing-shui, wake up. I didn't give up. I kept doing chest compressions with all my strength. My fingers trembled uncontrollably. My voice was choked with sobs. I had never been so scared in my entire life. My mind was blank. I couldn't think of anything else. my heart felt empty and lost. Inside, there was a dark fear. As time passed, second by second, minute by minute, the fear in my heart grew steadily. At this moment, my spirit completely collapsed. I lay on top of Xia Qingshui and wailed miserably. Shai Qingshu, wake up. Please wake up. As long as you wake up, I'll agree to anything you ask. I lay on Shia Qingshu's chest. At that moment, for the first time, I felt like life had completely lost its meaning. If in this world, her figure no longer appeared, then what meaning was there in living? Really? You'd agree to anything I ask? A weak voice echoed in the air, like an auditory hallucination. My body suddenly stiffened. I even forgot to cry. I quickly got up and looked at Shia Qingshu's face. Xia Qingshu's eyes were almost open. Her originally pale face seemed to have a hint of, in color now. She looked extremely weak. Her voice was a little unclear, but she still tried her best to finish her sentence. Then I'll marry you, okay? My tears streamed down uncontrollably. I plopped down on the sand and let out a loud wail, crying like a child. I hadn't cried like that in many years. I cried so hard it felt like the world was ending. The wind howled and the clouds churned. Even Xia Qingshui, who had no strength left in her body, was moved by my cries to prop herself up and clumsily tried to comfort me. All right, don't cry anymore. I wasn't drowned by the seawater, but I might get drowned by your tears soon. I finally couldn't hold back and hugged Xia Qingshui tightly. Xia Qingshui also hugged me tightly. It was like finding something that had been lost. By dusk, we had finally calmed down. I asked, what on earth happened? Xia Qingshui recounted what had happened afterward. Gushi and then learned. After Xia Qingshui found out I had jumped into the sea, she flew a helicopter to search for me in the storm for a long time but couldn't find me. So Xia Qingshu also jumped into the sea. She also drifted for a long time. She only felt that someone had saved her in her days. She felt like she had slept for a very long time on a yacht. Someone even brought her food in between. But when she woke up, she was already lying face down on the sand of this island. Everything felt like a dream. Gushi and also found it a bit unbelievable after hearing her story. To be honest, when I was drifting in the sea, I also saw flickering lights many times. Could it be that our meeting here is really a coincidence arranged by fate? Anyway, being able to meet each other while still alive is a great fortune. I led Xie Qingshu to my bamboo house. Xie Qingshui looked at the two-story bamboo house with a loft. Her face was full of disbelief. You built this house? I nodded. On the island, I had to find something to do to avoid overthinking. Xie Qingshui was deeply shocked. Tell me, who on earth did you learn all these skills from? I chuckled. An old man who just wouldn't die. Xie Qingshu was extremely curious. She just felt that my past was filled with mystery. She went inside and lay down. Because of the bamboo house's special structure and the cool material, it was very cool to lie inside. It was like a room with air conditioning. Xie Qingshu patted the spot next to her. I took the hint and lay down as well. Xie Qingshui turned over and immediately pulled me into her arms. Xie Qingshui didn't know how long she had been drifting in the sea. She only felt that she had a very long dream. Every second, every minute she couldn't find me was a torment in hell. When she was flying the helicopter, navigating through the storm again and again. In truth, she no longer held any hope in her heart. She just wanted to find my body. In the end, she didn't know she was hallucinating. A 5-year-old Guxian, sucking on a lollipop, was sitting on a sycamore tree, waving at her. So in the end, she didn't know if the helicopter was ultimately destroyed by the storm or by her own will. She was swept into the deep sea, boundless and desperate, but at this moment, holding me tightly in her arms, feeling the real warmth of my body. Xie Qingshui's eyes were filled with tears. I was originally immersed in the joy of surviving a catastrophe and finding what was lost. When I looked up and saw Xie Qingshui's face, she was completely silent. Her eyes were red. Tears streamed down her face. I was a little surprised. What are you crying for? We've been together for 3 years. I had never seen Xia Qingshui shed a tear, but at this moment, it was like a broken string of pearls. They wouldn't stop falling. I must say, this woman looks so beautiful when she cries. She was filled with a sense of brokenness. Her skin was already fair. I don't know if it was from being soaked in seawater, but she looked even paler now, like a vampire from the movies. Pale, but with a kind of broken beauty. Her eyes were red. Her dark eyes, washed by tears, were like glistening black pearls. Her gaze was clear and cold. Within them seemed to be a sea of stars. Ice, mountains, snowy fields. Those eyes held so many complex emotions. The joy of finding what was lost, the relief of surviving a disaster, and also a hint of desperation and fear that hadn't completely faded. She seemed not to have fully recovered yet. Her eyes were a mix of shock and sorrow. Despair and hope danced together. Disbelief, helplessness, and confusion mixed with ecstatic joy. Too many emotions. So much that I didn't dare to look at her again. I reached out and covered her eyes. Xia Qingshui naturally closed her eyes. I turned and pressed myself against Xia Qingshui. Soon, our breaths intertwined. This time, I was the one who initiated it completely. So much so that later, when I recalled it, I couldn't remember how it happened. I just felt it was completely surreal. When Xia Qingshui woke up, she found no one beside her. She became tense and quickly got up and left the bamboo house. At this time, The sun had just risen from the sea. Last night was truly exhausting. It had drained all her physical strength. She slept very soundly. It was also the best sleep she had had in a long time. Ashiyan, Xia Qingshui, called out my name loudly, afraid that all of this was just a dream she had before dying. A moment later, I emerged from a nearby bush. Xia Qingshui rushed over and hugged me tightly. Where did you run off to? I was worried sick. I gently pushed her away, holding a few figs in my hand. I just went into the forest to pick some fruit for breakfast. Xia Qingshui looked at the fruit in my hand, the figs, still frowning. But she finally breathed a sigh of relief in her heart. After a long moment, she suddenly spoke. I thought you were going to eat and run, wipe your mouth and not take responsibility. I looked up at Xia Qingshui in astonishment and saw clearly in Shai Qing Xu's dark pupils a flash of slyness. What nonsense are you talking about? I was actually tongue-tied. It's not like we haven't slept together before. But now that she said it so bluntly, it was still a bit awkward. Am I wrong? Last night, you were the one who used force. You have to take responsibility for me. I saw this woman playing the victim, and I couldn't stand it. This woman loves to take the opportunity to play the victim. How could I not understand her intentions? I said with a smile. You didn't resist either. She thought about last night, and her cheeks flushed slightly. It wasn't just that she didn't resist. She was like a starving wolf for 7 days and 7 nights. Initially, it was me who approached and kissed her. That's right. But as things progressed to the end, she was the one leading completely. I was flipped over and over by her, tossed and turned. Her tricks were countless. When I woke up early in the morning, I felt more tired than if I had been chopping bamboo all day and night. And now she still has the audacity to play the victim here. A woman so thick-skinned. It's infuriating. Why didn't I resist? You were already on top of me. Could I have resisted? If I had resisted too fiercely, wouldn't that have hurt your pride? I was so angry I almost coughed up blood. I pushed her away. Get lost. Xia Qingshui still clung to me, not leaving for a single step, like a ghost. Finally, I was really annoyed by her clinging. I couldn't help but ask, how do you want me to take responsibility? Xia Qingshui was overjoyed. You marry me. After saying that, she felt something was not right. She quickly corrected herself. I'll marry you. That still doesn't seem right. I don't care. Anyway, we have to get married. From now on, we have to sleep together every night. I saw her rare, clumsy, and flustered appearance, and found it amusing. I couldn't help but look up and roll my eyes at the blue sky. Oh my god, what kind of karma did I create? But I still played along. I put my arm around Xia Qingxu's waist. All right, stop acting spoiled. I can't take it. Xia Qingshui suddenly stood up straight. Her eyes seemed to sparkle with some kind of light. Really? You agreed. You accepted my proposal. I deliberately put on a cold face. It's a forced marriage. Xia Qingshui didn't care about that. She was too happy. I lifted her up in my arms and spun her around wildly on the sand. She laughed happily and loudly. Her laughter echoed across the sand. I was also very happy. After several life and death experiences, I had long since realized my own feelings, especially those few seconds yesterday when Xia Qingshui stopped breathing. I felt the world go dark. Everything in this world lost its color. I even wished I could go with her. At that moment, I realized that I loved her much more than I thought. The ecstatic joy after finding what was lost made me cherish even more. Every second, every minute we were together, we both laughed. Our laughter mingled together. Finally, we both fell onto the sand. The soft sand was like a big, comfortable bed. Half of our bodies seemed to sink deep into it. It was like lying on cotton. Xia Qingshui held my face and stared into my eyes. Her eyes seemed to have a brilliant light. It was excitement. It was irrepressible joy. She seemed to have never been so happy. The image of the two of them hugging and kissing was like a beautiful painting, frozen in the livestream room with 90 million viewers. Livestream room. What's the situation? The broadcast has been off for days. Why is it broadcasting again? What happened to our brother, Ann and Miss Xia? I haven't slept in 3 days. I am worried sick. No way. Why do the two people in this picture look so much like brother and Miss Xia? Where are they? Damn it. Thank God. They're still alive. Just now, their reunion on the beach made me cry my eyes out. Brother and gave Miss Xia CPR for 20 minutes. God knows what I went through during those 20 minutes. I've never seen brother and cry like that. It's so heartbreaking. These two are finally together. I am shipping them so hard. What's with this bamboo house? It's brand new, as if just built. No way. Why is the image so blurry? No. Why is the screen black again? The live stream room's popularity exploded. In the end, the number of viewers reached a terrifying 100 million. Most people were in a state of shipping them for dear life. But the program's staff was completely bewildered. Xia Qingshui and I had been missing for a full 5 days. Besides the previous 3 days of storm where rescue was impossible. Afterward, almost all the staff were mobilized. The old master, from who knows where, found a rescue team of 10,000 people. Plane after plane flew to the small island. A massive black swarm. The next 2 days were a frantic search. A radius of several thousand nautical miles. The range was expanded circle by circle. This place was originally an archipelago of 1,000 islands. Countless small islands were scattered like stars in the sky. Many islands were the private property of the world's top billionaires. Although those islands did not allow unauthorized entry, the search and rescue teams still went ashore. searching each island comprehensively. One by one, although the rescue team had grown to tens of thousands, there were also many people who came on their own, as volunteers to help with the search. But with such a large area, so many islands, it was no different from finding a needle in a haystack. Everyone felt a heavy stone weighing on their hearts. The old master's original words were, "If alive, see the person. If dead, see the body." But they had been missing for 5 days, and had gone through 3 days of a major storm. Everyone knew that the two of them had basically no chance of survival. Just when everyone was at their wits' end, and completely desperate, the program's live stream room suddenly started broadcasting automatically. That's right, it started broadcasting on its own. It was like seeing a ghost. Xi Ming had taken over the live stream room, but he only announced to the public the news that Xia Qing, X Wei, and I were missing. He had originally planned to live stream the rescue, but because the difficulty was too great, plus there were too many people cursing, so he turned off the live stream directly and focused on the search and rescue. But unexpectedly this morning, the live stream room suddenly started broadcasting automatically. The live stream footage was still of me and Xia Qing. Xi Ming just felt like he had seen a ghost. The technical side said the system was hacked and was completely under control. Because the opponent's skills were too good, they had no way to do anything about it, although it was hard to believe. But in the live stream room, seeing that Xia Qing, Shui, and I were not dead, Xi Ming, everyone breathed a sigh of relief. The old lady fainted when she saw the live stream. These few days, she had been holding on by a thread of faith. She didn't eat. She didn't sleep. She aged a lot in an instant. Her eyes were cloudy. Her spirit was listless, like a lamp running out of oil. Shen Li was always by the old lady's side. She didn't eat or drink either. She lost a lot of weight. Her eyes were a bit sunken. The blow to her, these past few days, was truly too great. She seemed to have completely changed into a different person. The youthful vitality on her seemed to be instantly drained. She was like a walking corpse, often in a daze, never smiling again. But when on the livestream screen once again, the figures of Gu Shi and Xia Qing Su appeared, Shen Li knelt on the ground and sobbed, as if a long-suppressed emotion was completely released. Thank God, they're still alive. Of course, Shen Li also saw her youngest aunt proposing to Gu Xian. Compared to the loss and discomfort in her heart, there was even a hint of jealousy. These emotions, in the face of life and death, in the face of finding what was lost, were all not worth mentioning. As long as they were alive, she no longer had any illusions. Her mother was such a person who had done those heartless things. She no longer harbored any illusions of having any outcome with her brother-in-law. Shen Yi also saw this scene from his room, seeing fourth aunt acting coquettishly and proposing to Gu Xian, seeing her as happy as a child, being spun around in Gu Xian's arms, watching them hug and kiss on the sand. He, who was already weak, crawled out of bed and smashed everything in the room. Why? On what grounds? When he woke up, he was already in his room because he had fallen into the sea. He had a high fever for 3 days and 3 nights. He almost met King Yama. He barely pulled through. He knew that fourth aunt went looking for me and had been missing in the storm for 2 days. Every day, he knelt by the window and prayed, praying that fourth aunt was okay, praying that fourth aunt could return.